There we go. Good. Boom. All right, now we're going to see our preview here.
You do your own thumbnail?
Yeah, if I need to. There we go. We're good. All right, so now everything's good. Everything's good. No latency. Fantastic. People and blogs. No.
The terms you're using. It's like... And you said the camera's where?
Yeah,
Right
camera's right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to that camera. I'm just doing all this stuff. So I'm also going to record this as well. So it's recording. So just in case we lose it, let's let everybody know. Yeah, you can lose the entire file.
Oh, that's what you meant.
And then, Caleb, are you busy? I need you to check my YouTube channel. I do it on purpose. Hi.
Hi.
I need you to go to my YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
and make sure our audio isn't trash.
It isn't trash. Okay, yeah, I got you.
You know his channel?
Huh?
You know his channel?
So my uncle Frank and I are telling comic book stories. He's been collecting for 40 years and he brought some stuff. Okay, we are live. All right, everybody. My name is Chef Andy Lunique. This is my uncle Frank, aka Frank Alexis Jr. Is that right?
That's correct.
Nice. So he has been my uncle as long as I can remember because he's married into our family. But as honestly as I can tell you anything else, as well as his son, they've always been nice. So he has that is not helping. Don't put the audio on.
No,
That's my
backfeed
nephew
into
who's
that.
also here, so it's gonna loop the audio.
Yeah, it's gonna loop
But
it.
let us know if it sounds like trash. But this is his son, my cousin. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Yep.
My cousin.
Mhm.
And we have been talking about this for months. So I'm going to let you tell this story really quick. But essentially, I'm forcing him to be on video right now. Because when
What
I
a
found
force.
out what he has, when I found out what was going on, you can come back whenever you want. When I found out what was going on, I was like, you have to understand, we need to record these things. So you tell them what you have here. But not before you even talk about what's here, what's at your house right now?
Well, I've sold about 6 boxes
Okay.
so far. Local comic book shop. What I'm getting is a fraction of what I would get if I put it on eBay.
Yeah.
eBay, it's very labor intensive to put on eBay. Buyers would want to know it's the authentic model. It's the real deal. It's not some fake carbon copy of a real comic book. It's a lot of work for me to just put it on eBay to sell it. So I went to the local comic book store, some guys I know,
Okay.
who would pretty much give me good market value for those titles. So I believe whatever they're giving me is fair.
Okay.
Not as much as I would get on eBay,
Mhm.
but it is fair. Something I'm willing to work with. And one of the reasons I kind of strayed away with selling it is my son's not interested in comic books. He's a product of the 2000s. These kids are really into the digital age and are really into the hard comic book pages and turning the pages and the smell of the new comic books, sliding them in plastic with the backing. He's not interested in that. So part of me was saying, well, I would bequeath it to him if something ever happened to me.
Mhm.
But right now, they're just taking up space. And it's not something I just wanted to give away. I said, well, let me go to the local comic book shop and have a conversation with them to see what they're willing to give me. So far, I still have a lot of the real good ones. You know, my X-Men collection is still intact. Fantastic Four is still intact. My Spawn collection is still intact. X-Files.
Jeez.
The ones
Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The ones I felt compelled to give away are probably, I wouldn't say throwaways. They're more like titles like The Defenders
Mhm.
and maybe some obscure Avengers comic books. Not the early 60s, 70s Avengers, but more like the 2000s.
Now, how big is the collection you're sitting on right now?
Now I'm probably down to about 11,000 now. I was up to about a little over 15
You cannot just glaze over that number. You're sitting on 11,000 comic books at the house right now.
Right now.
And you brought 70-ish?
This is one of the smaller ones, and I'm just gonna take a peek.
Yeah. Oh no,
Is
no,
that
not
it?
yet. Actually,
Not yet.
Yeah, we're gonna open this up in a
I
second.
would say it's about 50 or 60 in here right now. That's with backs, and that's with the plastic, because all of them you have to treat them like they're mint. They're gonna become something someday. When I first started collecting as a kid,
Yeah.
I didn't understand the importance of sliding them into backs and plastic. I would just read them, crumble them, I trace on them. I mean, they're just good for sentimental value, but they're not good
Gotcha.
for, let's say, to try to sell or
Mhm.
somebody wanting to buy. If you're gonna buy it, they're probably gonna pay something like 10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents, which is what they cost in the 60s and 70s. They
So-
were very cheap, very inexpensive.
Juicin is we have someone in the chat, by the way. So every
Okay.
now and again I might stop you because there's folks in the chat. Hello.
Okay.
Good
How
to
you
see
doing?
you. Essentially he says that they moved rather to paperback and digital comics because
Mhm.
I imagine the cost, the storage is all a little crazy. But
Absolutely.
they also mentioned they want to trade. Alrighty.
Okay.
Now that was the first question they asked. I have to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
when you're talking about that collection, right? All these cheaper things and things are moved in that direction where comics are a lot more expensive. That question, want to trade comics.
Mm.
What are you trading for? So, like, if
See,
I
I've
if
never
you hold
traded.
up, you never traded.
I've never
comics?
traded.
Okay.
Growing up in the 70s, it was baseball cards and it was comic books.
Okay.
You could play for baseball cards, swipe somebody's collection by winning.
Is that how it worked?
Yeah.
I did not know.
Comic books, the kids were pretty free with the comic books. They reading, it's like, hey, you could have this copy of this as long as I could. Well, you know what? There might have been some trading. Let's say somebody wanted Nova,
Mhm.
a character in the 70s.
Yeah.
They want the Nova comic for your Doctor Strange. You could probably trade in that equal value. The kids didn't really understand what it was about. This comic cost 75 cents. This one cost 50 cents. Let's trade.
Yeah.
It was just the comic, a trading aspect of it, just to say, hey, I got this title, you don't have this character, let's trade. I want that one really badly. You could have this one, which I don't care that much for. So it would be traded that way. But I didn't do too much of that. There wasn't too much of trading back then.
So now it's all about sale and value, which you had alluded to earlier.
Right.
That there is an understanding among the comic community of what you see as fair market value
Mm.
and what you see is valuable to you.
Right.
If you got some stuff
Sentimental
that you're never
value.
gonna live up. Yeah.
Yep.
Like there's some things in this room that you can see I'm not giving
Oh,
up. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you understand, somebody would look and say, why would you want to keep this?
Oh, yeah.
But it's important to you. You
Yeah.
have some type of connection to it. With me, some of my comics just bring me back to a simpler time, the 70s. I was a nerd. I was a bookworm. I was really good in school, but socially awkward.
Mhm.
Comic books took me away from that. I just lost myself in the stories. Fantastic Four was my biggest title before the X-Men really hit big. X-Men comic book, a lot of people don't know this. The early X-Men was was kind of like a failure. The title
What,
just wasn't
the
selling.
same outfits, right? They had the same
Yeah,
visors.
that's the teenagers coming into their own, the what you call the OG
Yeah.
X-Men. The title wasn't really selling that much. And they actually reprinted it, maybe from the first episode, first issue to about maybe issue number 60 or 70. It was first run. Comic book sales were plummeting on that, and they reprinted what they had already printed before. So it was being resold, but the same story.
Mm-hmm.
Then, of course, the comic book world got tipped on its head when Giant X-Men #1. This is the one that introduced Wolverine and Nightcrawler and Storm, and X-Men was never the same again. They just took off like a rocket. So those introduced new storylines. And of course, everybody in the marketplace was trying to catch up to the popularity of the X-Men. Other titles were doing good. Fantastic Four was a good seller. Avengers was a good seller.
Yeah.
What's another one? Defenders wasn't too bad. Defenders was sort of like,
That was Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Jessica, and
well, that's the TV. That's Netflix. That's
Oh.
the original Defenders was Hulk. It was Silver Surfer. There was a guy named Damien Hellstrom, the son of Satan. There was
Wait,
Valkyrie.
Mephisto Satan or Satan Satan?
Mephisto.
Mephisto.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was also Valkyrie. There was Nighthawk. The much like the Avengers, the Defenders lineup changed quite often, but they didn't come together like the Avengers. One day all of us will have to unite to fight a common cause. Defenders were a different offshoot of the Avengers, and that was popular by its own right. I wasn't a big Defenders fan. I liked it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like the Avengers. Avengers had Captain America, it had Iron Man, it had Hulk, who also pulled double duty in the Avengers as well as the Defenders. So that was always a good difference between Avengers and Defenders. But there were a lot of titles that were just as popular as the X-Men.
Gotcha.
The X-Men really took off. The good writing, the good artists, and everybody, in the 80s and 90s wanted to draw or write for the X-Men. That was a really, really big deal at that time. And the comic is still popular today, but there's so many different offshoots of the core title. You have Uncanny, then you have,
I gotta tell you, it gets confusing as a new comic fan, right? If my wife, who's gonna be online later, by the time she gets back today to kind of talk with you about this, if you were to say, I want to start reading comics right now, and you were to have someone insert, it's just as difficult to get into comics as it is into gaming, in my opinion, right? But what the common piece of feedback that I've heard is pick something, right? And then start somewhere, right? It's like, hey, pick something up if you enjoy it, and then people will share more information, or you'll be able to, find something that catches your eye, whether it be fighting or action. Just kind of, jump into it. There's people, or there are communities that will always help you out.
Right.
Right now, they're asking in the chat, are you a DC and Marvel fan? How many comics are autographed? These are common questions. I'm gonna let you answer those real quick before we jump into it. But it feels like just jumping in is either the hardest thing in the world to do or the easiest thing to do if you can start at the beginning of the series.
The best advice I would tell somebody, piggybacking on what you said, put every title that's out there on a board. Take a dart and just throw it. And then you start with wherever that dart lands.
Is that really how you should?
That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
See, I've been in it from the beginning. So it's a loaded question. It's really hard. If somebody came to me, I'd say, pick the most popular title.
Yeah.
I don't know what the most popular title is right now in DC and Marvel. I know there's this absolute universe that my son keeps talking about. I don't know too much about it.
It's
I
wild,
stopped
man.
really reading regularly back in 2020.
Right.
But maybe a year before that, I'd kind of given up on the stories. A lot of the stories had gotten really, really convoluted. There was a shift in the storylines, and then there were guys who were very just fans who were just really upset that they thought they had gone too woke. There was a lot of female groups. I think there was a A-Team, which was nothing but female superheroes. That kind of, rankled some hardcore readers of comic books. It didn't bother me, but just don't read the title. If it bothers you that much, just don't read it. You don't have to comment on it. It's sort of like that scene from, what was it, Avengers Infinity War, when they showed the group shot with the ladies, all the female superheroes, they pop up.
Yeah.
People said that was forced. It didn't need to be in there. It didn't bother me. I got it. It wasn't like the whole movie was like that. But depending on where you come from as far as reading comics, it wasn't a big deal to me. But hardcore readers were really put off with the direction that a lot of the titles were going.
I see.
Because we were discussing this earlier. Comic books started out as a male medium. Boys read comic books. Girls didn't read comic books in the 60s and 70s. It was just something little girls would tease boys about. Go read your comic books, little boy.
You were teased?
I was teased, yeah. But it didn't stop me from reading. I mean, they weren't saying something that wasn't true. I kept on reading anyway. And look at my collection now. I didn't intend to build my collection like that. It's like it just kept on going. I went in the military, and that's where I bought a whole bunch of comic books. Because now I was making money. I could buy my own comic books. And I had them come to either the base or I'd have them shipped straight home.
Oh, so they were like mailed to you?
Yeah, they were mailed to
Oh
me.
my
These
God,
are
yeah.
because in one thing in the 70s, comic book racks, they were in pharmacies, they were in libraries. But now you're not going to find the average comic book in a CVS or somewhere like that. You have to either go to a convention, you have to go to a comic book shop, which is nothing but comics, nothing but memorabilia, statues, something that caters to fans who love to read comic books. I mean, you go to Comic-Con, San Diego. You've been to San Diego Comic-Con. The ground level is for comic book sellers and buyers and traders. That medium has sort of been left behind because San Diego Comic-Con has gone more corporate. It's more about movies and games and statues. The comic book collector has kind of been left out of the fold.
Yeah, they're pushed over.
It's pushed over. Even though the first thing you see when you go into San Diego Comic-Con on that ground level is nothing but comic books. Thousands and thousands. Doesn't stop the guys from coming out there because people like myself and other people may just buy comics just for the nostalgia. That's somewhere along the line I became a collector, but I never set out to be that. And, I just love the comics and I love the story. I want to keep it. Now I have to go back and start putting backs and plastic because they were just thrown in boxes. They were warped, they were cut, they were bent. Nobody wanted to trade for those, but
So you're going through your entire curation right now of 11,000 comics. You're like,
Mhm.
I'll double checking, making sure they're clean.
Yeah.
Also ensuring that they're preserved inside those bags right now.
yeah,
You're
because
going through all of
I have
that.
lots of backs and plastics that haven't been used,
Right.
and maybe through the first 4 or 5 boxes, not too many of them didn't have a back because it
Right.
was almost like a whole process. You read the comic, you have the backing, you put it in, slip it into a plastic, tape it, put it in the box. And I tried to have every title, like most collectors, try to keep everything together.
Yep.
You know, you have, X-Men, then you have Uncanny X-Men, then you got X-Men First Class. You have to keep them categorized so you could go back to them later. I had to do a spreadsheet. After it got to a point where I had about maybe 6 or 7,000, I said, what box is Fantastic Four number 250 in? So I'd have to create a spreadsheet. So I takes 2 minutes, pop it up. Here's that title.
Damn.
Maybe just to read it.
Yeah.
There's titles I've read. I know how they're going to end, just like a movie. I'm sure you watch movies a lot of times. You watch them over and over. You know how it's going to end, but you see something new that you may not have seen the last time.
Oh, constantly.
That's how I look at a comic book. I'm like, oh man, that panel was drawn really good. I didn't see this character in the background. And you catch it now through the third or fourth or fifth viewing.
See, that was actually a question I intended on asking you. That is it A, therapeutic and a bit zen as you're going through the process, placing it inside the sleeve, putting the back on,
Mhm.
and 2, do you take a minute when you pick up something that you haven't seen in a while and go through it again?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. If it's something that I really liked, I may sit there and be like, I was going to sell it. I'm like, maybe I'm not going to sell this. Because
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that day when we're getting theater seating in our home pretty soon. So I look forward to just sitting back and just pulling out that comic and rereading it like I'm reading it for the first time.
Mhm.
And you think about what it made you feel like the first time you read it. And that's how, when I was a kid, that was the getaway. Life as a kid, you can be very serious. It's at least growing up in the 70s in the Bronx. Everything was fast paced. You're picked on because you were a book nerd. Even the cool kids didn't like to read comics, or they didn't reveal that they did because comic books was meant to be a nerdy type of thing.
Yeah. We
But
learned
then
that
you
with
find
anime
out-
as well when I was in high school.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah. And anime, my first, this goes back to the early 80s. Used to watch this anime called Battle of the Planets
Mhm.
with G-Force. Great looking, these superheroes, and they each had like a bird name. You had the eagle, you had the owl, and it was a really good thing. We watched at 7 o'clock in the morning before we went to school. Then there was also Star Blazers, Battleship Yamato, and we watched that. It's not the same when you read those in comics. They have put them in comics before, but I remember the TV show. It was a direct transport from Japan,
Right.
and it was shown in American audiences. It was subtitled, and I ended up buying the DVD. What do you call it? The box set.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up watching those, and it was like watching it from when I was a kid, and it brought back so many memories. I still have those. Those I'll never part with. Those are things that even my son has watched them. He loves it.
Really?
Even from the theme song and it's cheesy animation for the time period.
Yeah.
But the stories were so cool. The villains were very simple, and it was just these 5 teenagers going up this guy named Zoltar. And Zoltar had like this
Wait,
androgynous
Zoltar?
look. That was his name.
Are you
Zoltar.
serious?
Yeah. And he had this
Sorry, it's
androgynous
come up
look.
in
You couldn't tell
movies.
it. Really?
Yeah, Zoltan and not Zoltan, not to be confused with
Zoltan.
Zoltan.
Where does that come from?
That comes from a film, Dude, Where's My Car? And
Yes,
I
yes.
think they had done the symbol,
Yes.
and I was like, did they take that name? I don't remember. I'm saying it correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but sorry, I couldn't remember that one.
Zoltan, right?
Yeah. And sorry, someone's asking, do you remember an anime called Techno Man? That was their first anime.
Techno Man.
Yeah. Sounds like it's the same time period.
That one I missed. I do remember, what was the other one? And I remember, as far as comic book goes, Ghost in the Shell was one of the
yeah.
first ones I read.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. And I wanted to draw anime. I just couldn't. I could not draw anime. And it's a very nice, simple line drawing, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I followed John Byrne, who was a big X-Men artist in the 70s and 80s, and I wanted to emulate his style. And when I signed up to try to draw for Marvel, they would send the samples back and say, you have too much John Byrne in your drawing style. Because I wanted to be a comic book artist so badly that I was studying anatomy through the best artists. There was George Perez. There was, who was the other one? There was so many artists that I just admired, but I really liked John Byrne because he had the right proportion. It wasn't a very dynamic type of artwork. It was very detailed, and it was the anatomy was perfect. It was just right for if you put a human being in a pose. They did this thing one time where they showed Spider-Man, with his elongated, positions. Could a
Mhm.
human being move like that? And of course, it couldn't. But on paper, in a comic book, it looks really dynamic. John
Right.
Byrne's style was very simple. It was very detailed, and it looked very. If you learned anatomy in a book, he would be the closest comic book artist that you want to learn from because
Gotcha.
of the way he drew his character and the shading. He had a great inker who made his artwork pretty much jump off the page. It was just really, really good stuff. And I had too much of it. I had too much because I wasn't really taught artwork. I wasn't taught to draw. Me and my brother were rough artists.
Wait,
We were
so
very.
you, for the record, he hasn't mentioned it yet. He's actually drawn his own comic book before. Are you telling me you were self-taught top to finish, start
Yes,
to finish?
yes.
So you never went to art school?
I went to art school as far as I took art classes in high school.
Yeah, no.
But
you
by
didn't go
then
to
I was
fine art
drawing.
school.
No.
Jesus.
No.
Okay. See, I'm learning about
that
you
played,
right now.
But that played against me.
Yeah.
That did play against me because, in order to draw,
Mm-hmm.
comic books, obviously you want to draw superheroes, but you have to be able to draw simple things like cars and bricks in a building, little
Mm.
kids. My kids had muscles. The dogs had muscles. Everybody was built. And that was my downfall because I didn't learn the right way. I gave my son an anatomy book. I said, start doing heads, split the head in half, then do the eyes and the nose and the lips. I didn't draw like that. I just looked, put a circle and put the eyes where they should go and it lined up okay. But it wasn't good for comic book artwork. And I must have sent about 50, 60 submissions to every comic book company that would accept it. I sent it to DC and Marvel, Kitchen Sink, Dark Horse. Image was the one I didn't send to because they had a condition that you'd have to be willing to move to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to move to the West Coast.
Yeah.
But they probably would have turned me down anyway if I submitted anything.
You never know.
You never know. You
Yeah.
never know. But I was never sore about it because
Right.
I think in being rejected, they actually said, you're very close, work on your hands. Then I work on my hands,
I hear hands.
work
are-
on your head. Then you work on your head. Every time I worked on something specifically, I lost a value in drawing something else. It's like I was razor sharp focused on one thing and wouldn't pay attention. And it's all a whole. It's all a whole thing. So I lived and died with the fact that, you know what, maybe comic book artist drawing isn't for me.
Mhm.
But I felt good that I gave it the best that I could. And then you see some other artists who are out there and you're like, I can draw better than that guy. How did he make it in the industry? I met Rob Liefeld at a comic book signing
Now,
in
who's
Brooklyn.
Rob Liefeld?
He draws for Youngblood. He used to draw for Youngblood.
Okay.
He was a Marvel artist who drew Cable and the New Mutants.
Oh, okay.
He created
gotcha.
Deadpool.
That's
He's
Rob
the
Liefeld.
art, Rob
Okay.
Liefeld.
So,
Real nice
yeah,
guy.
A big deal, obviously.
Oh yeah, really
Yeah.
big deal. I met him a couple of times. Great guy. Took pictures with him in a comic book store in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
Him and Jim Lee were there. Jim Lee was another big.
Lee, I know,
you
yes.
you know him.
Yeah.
Another big dynamic artist. And I started emulating his style a little bit later too, but not more like when I was doing sketches, not to be a comic book artist.
Gotcha.
John Byrne was the one I was really emulating. I wanted his style in my style, but I made it too much of his. And everybody knew who he was. Some people would be like, "Oh, you got a lot of John Byrne in you," and I didn't want to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I liked his style, I wanted to create my own, and I just couldn't because I had that so built in. But by the time I was reading comics in the '70s, I had my mind set. I want to be a comic book artist because you saw the things he was drawing, not just him, just comic book artists in themselves. They say a comic book artist has to be able to tell the story without the words because it's a whole process. They do the penciling, then the inking.
Right.
The words usually come last. So you have to be able to convey what's happening in each panel, and each panel should be. It's like being deaf, or rather than it's like being blind, and you got a comic book in front of you, and the words aren't put out there. The words aren't there, just the pictures, and you're supposed to be able to tell what the story's about without the words. The words are supposed to fine tune the action and what's happening, but the pictures are supposed to speak their own story. And I thought I tried to look at comic book panels and block out the words to see if I knew what was going on. And sometimes, yes, sometimes it was clear. You could say, okay, two characters are talking here. Two characters are arguing. You could tell just by looking at that. That's
That's the
obvious.
conflict on the
Yeah,
page. Right.
but some other things, something small. Captain America lifting up his cowl to reveal he's Steve Rogers. You say, oh man, is he taking it off because there's another superhero there who knows his secret identity, or is he revealing it? That was the dynamic I didn't know how to do.
Mhm.
I didn't know how to do that. And a lot of comic book companies, they would send you sometimes like a script, and they would tell you, draw from that script the best you can and then submit that to them. And you would get form letters. Every rejection I got, there was a form letter, something that was pre-typed, but then they put the real deal at the bottom, handwritten. You're very close, but you need to work on this and you need to work on that.
Is
Focus
that
on
what it was like?
yeah. Yeah.
That's insane. I don't know if we have anything that resembles that kind of relationship right now. The industry. I mean, like when you submit artwork like that, I've never heard of anyone telling stories that they're getting feedback of that type. It's
Mhm.
usually either a rejection or a hard no, is what I understand things to be right now.
It could be. It could be now, because it's been years since
Yeah.
I even tried anymore. After a while, the rejections pile up. Then you find encouragement from somebody like Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane claims he sent people said it's a lie, but they said he sent like 250 submissions. I believe him. I sent about 50. But it depends how hard you want to be in it.
Mhm.
And Todd McFarlane has honestly no regard for anatomy. I mean, his stuff is like very comic booky, very definitely comic book artist, very elongated and very dramatic. Every panel is dramatic, and for some people it works. Look what he did. He built a whole empire. His toy line is
Of
incredible.
course, yeah.
And
It's
Spawn is
nonstop,
still
yeah.
ongoing.
Which I miss Spawn. I'm hoping there's a Spawn game.
Mhm.
You're the one who actually got me into Spawn, and
It
you weren't
came on
supposed to.
HBO.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
the HBO series.
I remember I wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be watching it because I was way too young.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you
It
know,
was dark. It was a dark cartoon. It was
Yes.
very dark, and I love the fact that it stayed true to the comic book because the comic book was equally dark.
Mhm.
But Todd McFarlane was the executive producer of it, and it was on the right stream. Well, it wasn't streaming at the time, but it was the right
HBO,
platform,
yeah.
HBO, and they put it out,
When
and
they
it was
sold
very
HBO.
popular. Yeah, it ran about maybe 3 seasons, and now through the beauty of being able to go back on streaming, you could relive those episodes again.
Is that right?
Yeah, me and your aunt used to watch it all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
we would mimic the voices with Clown, and was disappointed with the movie.
Mhm.
Movie was disappointing.
Yeah.
And-
Well, I
and-
heard they were trying to compact way too much into
Yeah.
a film, and they were kind of, what's the word? They were kind of doubling down over it's very common mistakes that happen into later '90s
Mhm.
hero films as well. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm going to take a quick pause
Sure.
because we're going to add another platform, and then I'm going to have you open this up. You're doing great, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
So just going to double check something, make sure everyone's good. We are good. So give us a second here. Just got to clean something up. Really? Okay. Just got to fix something, y'all. Give me a second. So we're now going to audio stream. That's 128. I'm just gonna lower the bit rate since we're about to change some things up. Output. Bring it down to 3,000. Okay. Okay, that's going. I have to sign in and everything. Just a second here. This is a great conversation, by the way.
Oh, thank you, buddy. Man, you get me when I start talking about comics and movies. Pretty soon it's gonna be 3D printing.
Is lower than the recommended 68. Oh gosh. Okay, so I should go up. Lord, that's gonna be fun.
So the live is paused right now?
No, it's still live.
It's still live,
I just keep
okay.
it going. Oops.
But everybody's not seeing this.
No,
what you're doing.
they're seeing it right now.
Oh, what you're changing?
No, they can't see my screen right now. Usually, I just let things, I let things just kind of play out because unless there's 1,000 people here, sometimes the very organic nature of it is just fine.
Oh, okay.
Agreed. Oh. Yeah, I haven't had to stream in a long time, so it's actually kind of fun doing this.
All right, but you haven't missed a beat.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, just by I don't know what you're touching and what you're correcting, bit rate and this and that.
You know, I appreciate that though.
I was totally in the dark. I thought it was just put the microphone in front and just record.
Oh no, it is. You can do a lot here. That's all I'll say. Let's just delete this scene, and then blank. I'm just gonna add a new scene. Oops. There we go. And then add camera. I'm gonna go window capture. Just going to delete this camera. I don't need this.
Yeah, bro. It's-
There we go. And
Sweet.
then I'm just going to bring you in. Let's crop you out. Boosh. Awesome. And then let's center you, crop, rotate, flip, bring forward. Alrighty, that is everything. And then the microphone, just need to make sure that's good. And then we're good to go. Hate when I have to reinstall things, just a mess.
But you'll probably make it look easy.
I try. Alright, automatic, good. Transitions, hotkeys, audio settings, speaker.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to believe how far I got with this stuff. Man, never would have thought that.
Okay, I got everything good to go. Yep, and then we're good. Was that you?
What?
Your the vibration.
I did
Audio
hear some.
check. Testing audio check. Audio check. Testing audio check. Audio check. Yes. No echoes found. Okay, we're good. Going live. Oh, yes. Comic collection chat. And then that's auto. And then I'm just going
change the
to...
name?
Yeah. You just want people to know what we're talking about.
Mm.
Just to make it easy.
I never talked about at the beginning how I started, right?
Oh, we're about to.
I tend to spiderweb out too.
No, you're
One
good.
thought makes me think of something else, and
Bop. Okay. Add topic. Food, news, events, fandom. Perfect. I'm just going to send you to the back. Layer, send backwards. Okay, good. Good. Awesome. Go live. Go live. Are we live? Awesome. I think we should be good. I'll put the chat near here so I can see both. So you'll see people type in here,
Okay.
and we'll go from there. So I just gotta sign up for TikTok. We'll see what they say, and they'll let us know if it's good or bad. Okay. I think that is all that we needed to do. So check it out. What I'd like you to do from here is introduce yourself as if I'm not here whatsoever. Tell your story. Take as long as you need to,
Mm.
and then we'll start off the comic book. Sound good?
Okay, sounds good.
Go for it.
All right. My name is Frank Alexis Jr. I was a big time comic book collector. I've been collecting since I was 8 years old. I started collecting sort of by accident. I had two sisters, older sisters, and this is the Christmas just before, I guess this is the year of 1973. That would put me at about 7 years old at the time. Two older sisters. One older sister got me a giant-sized Marvel Treasury edition of the Fantastic Four, and I was hooked. My brother got a giant-sized The Flash. So growing up, it turned out that it was me, Marvel, and my brother, DC. So it was always like this little, bickering in the house. But my brother gave up comics pretty quickly. I mean, he was in it just long enough to like some of the stuff, but me, it took me by surprise. It was like having a toy. And like any toy, you have it for a little while, it loses its novelty. Not for comics. Comics just kept me wanting to read more and more. And it actually developed my my love for the English language. There were words I wasn't learning in school at that time. And they were more advanced, and I would look them up to see what they meant. Like, let's say there was a title called The Invincible Iron Man. I had a reference saying invincible must mean strong. I looked it up, and sure enough, it meant invincible.
So your
Strong.
vocabulary.
Yeah,
was
so my
gotcha.
vocabulary really increased. Every superhero comic book had a dynamic surname. You had the Fantastic Four, the Incredible Hulk, the Dynamic Defenders. And of course, there's World's Greatest Comic Book Magazine. It had to sell on its own, just from the title. It made you want to open up the comic and read what was going on.
Right.
Early on in the 60s and 70s, the cover had to give you a snippet of what that title would be about in the pages. So it kind of, you see the Thing fighting alone against, who knows, a nihilist.
Right.
Where are the rest of the Fantastic Four? The rest of the book is supposed to explain that. All comic books at that time were like that. So sometimes I would buy a comic book just because of the cover, because the cover is so great. I'm like, okay, what made this cover happen? So let me read the comic. So my sisters got me really got me going. After that, it was a case of how could I get money to buy comics? At the time, the comics were only 20 cents. Hard to believe, 20 cents.
20-cent comics.
Yep.
I can't.
And where we lived in the Bronx, you had to use a bus pass and a quarter.
Oh, hold on a second. It says we don't have audio. Thank you, Danica.
Oh.
1 second. Well, we have audio on YouTube. We don't have audio on the TikTok.
No.
Let's just fix it. Fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. Fix it, fix it.
Will you need me to repeat?
No, not at all. Keep going. All right. I think that actually cleans us up. Danica, are we good here? Sound is on. Hey, sound is on. There we
Sweet.
go. Hopefully it's not bad sound. I hope it's good, clean,
Well, it is
healthy
me-
sound.
It is me talking. So
No, you should definitely, feel like you can definitely project, but yeah, you're
Okay.
good. But I
I
think,
get
I think we have
animated with
clean
this
audio
stuff.
right now. Danica, we good? Let me know. Also, this is my Uncle Frank. He's handsome. I do not get my looks from him.
thanks, never. I'll give you $50.
No, thank you for checking on that. I appreciate that. Yay. And she says, hi, Uncle Frank. Oh,
All right.
chat's right here, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so I was talking about bus pass.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, 10-cent comics, and then you had
Yeah,
your
where
bus
I
pass.
lived in the Bronx, I needed a bus pass and a quarter to get to school.
Okay.
I would walk to school to keep the 25 cents so I could go into a comic book store and buy a comic.
In the Bronx in the 70s.
In the Bronx in the 70s. And there was no comic book stores. What there was, like I said before, pharmacies.
Yep.
Or a magazine shop, with Newsweek and stuff like that. And right beside it would be some comic books. The comic books that came out every Wednesday was when new comic book titles came out.
Okay.
I didn't know that at the time. I used to go in. I said, "Why is this title still here?" It's because I was going back so much in between weeks when they were replenishing the new supply.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, I had about 50, 60 comic books in the bottom of my closet. And mom found it one day when I was at school. She found it, and I looked, and they were all gone. I came home one day to read a title. They were all gone.
Oh.
And mom had thrown them out. She threw them out because she said, "Where were you getting these comics from?" I couldn't tell her. She was secretly funding my addiction.
Yeah.
You know, because I was using her 50 cents per day
Yeah.
to buy comics. I would walk 3 miles to get to school just so I could buy comics. That's how embedded I was in that world.
Yeah.
And so I was heartbroken. So now I'm a little older, and now I'm going to the military.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm earning my first paycheck, and I'm buying comics left and right. All the comics I had growing up, I found them in these conventions. I would go to the convention and buy. Hey, do you have this title? Do you have that title?
Yeah.
And of course, in the army, I was able to continue buying through subscriptions. So I never missed an issue. I never had to go to a store anymore because they were being delivered right to my barracks. So it was perfect. And slowly but surely, I started getting. Now I had 1,000, and I'm still collecting, showing no signs of stopping.
How many do you have now?
I am now. Well, right now I have 11,000, but I was up to about. I think the most was about 14, 15 at one time.
Christ.
I did
Okay.
lose track after about 13. After a while, you start spotting how many's in a box.
Yeah.
And if you have 3 or 4 boxes, that counts to about, that's about several hundred. And you do that several more times, that's a couple of thousand. And that's how I did it. So
That's wild work, sir.
it is. It is. And of course, and my wife, who met me when I was already in the midst of this addiction, she took it, that's good that you have a passion that you like. Because it wasn't like it was sloppily left everywhere. They were in these boxes in one room. Like in my gym, I think you've seen them when you came.
Yeah,
I had them up against the wall of the gym.
Yeah,
and they
it's
were
like
stacked.
this is the baby box. By
Yeah, this is a
comparison,
small
right?
box.
And we're gonna pop this open. But
Yeah, the real boxes are like this big.
Yeah.
And they're made for comics, specifically for comics, handles, and you could stack them. They were stackable. And some of them were kept in such poor shape because I moved a couple of times. I had to put them in storage units.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of storage units aren't, temperature controlled. So a lot of them would collapse. And all I would think about is, that comic's being crushed on the inside. So I did lose some comics. Some of them are just, I probably couldn't sell them, maybe a quarter or something like that because they're flattened, but they're still in their plastic, they're still in their backs, and they still have sentimental value. And those I'm willing to always keep because there's certain titles that I'd rather keep than others,
Gotcha.
And then there's, then it became, the comic book era, like in the 90s, became very, what's the word I'm looking for? It became very, it looked like it was just catering to buyers. I'd gone to comic book stores. I see people just pick up comics.
Really?
They had
Just
no
like
intention of
snagging?
reading them. Yeah, they would
Really?
pick them
Okay.
up, pay for them, slip in
the
a bag
resale market.
to resell them. And the resale market in the 90s was huge, really incredible. So they made these foiled covers, these gold foil covers that you tilt them, and they had this 3D image. It became very gimmicky. And the story started to go down a little bit. Some of the stories were still good, but a lot of the titles just had this gimmicky thing. And you're paying more for the cover than really the comic. Don't get me wrong. I continued to buy them because those were X-Men comics. Those were Spider-Man comics. Those were Avengers comics. You had to buy it in order to read those stories.
Yeah.
So, and of course, the comic book conventions were very big with people selling and trading and buying. That was really big before, the big Comic-Con conventions started coming along. Things like Dragon Con in Atlanta and New York City Comic-Con and San Diego Comic-Con. Those became very big hotbeds for selling and buying comics in the 80s and 90s before the corporate structure took over. Things with movies and games. Don't get me wrong, the market is so big you can divvy everything up. But it did seem like the big time comic book buyer was being pushed aside.
Okay.
You still have a lot of diehards out there. A lot of people are still diehard comic buyers and sellers, and they love the stories. Me, I lost interest like around 2019, early 2020. In fact, 2020 was when I last bought my last comic book. But I wanted to keep. I figured what I had on hand now, I could read them until I die. I was fine with that. But then they were taking space up in my gym. And I talked to my wife. My wife said, well, if you feel you can get market value for them, look into it. And I started looking into it. I started looking at eBay where you could really buy it for top notch, but you have to do a lot of stuff in order for the buyer to make sure you're not selling them a flawed product. You could sit there. 10.0 is the mint condition of a comic book. That means there's no fold. It's like it came off the press. How do you read something like that, right? I mean, that's why guys would go on the racks, pick them up, slide them in. Sometimes some people would buy 2 or 3 copies, so they had one to read and the other one to sell or keep as a collector's item.
Mm-hmm.
You see that with toys and games. Some people will buy, these models, and they won't open the box. They're still in the original box. They won't open them up because it loses its value. It's like a car. You drive it off the lot, value starts to go down right away. Same thing with opening up a statue. Same thing as opening up a comic book that's outside of its plastic bag.
Yeah.
So it becomes a mindset. I didn't know a lot of the stuff when I was buying in the 80s and 90s. I didn't care about that. I just liked the stories until there was a way to make money off of them. You don't want to go into buying comics to make money, but you can't keep it forever, right?
Yeah.
If you can get something for it, hey, go for it. So, like I said, I was hooked from the time my sisters bought that comic.
So now you're in the resale world. Well, not the resale world. You're in the sale world.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking about what you're going to do with these collections. You're thinking about what you're going to do with this in general.
Right.
Right. You know your son's not into them as much.
At all.
I've bothered you to bring these here because I've been curious about your story.
Oh, no bother at all.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. If I had more room in my car, I would have bought 2 or 3 there. In fact, I think about bringing some to leave here.
I mean, listen, that is from my wife. She's going to want to hang on to those. When she does that, Gloria is going to be really keen on it because it's interesting because when we consider all of the, hey, and there he is right now. Why are you in a blanket?
That's what he does.
I forgot you always wear a blanket. So, Caleb, you're not into you're not into comics.
No.
Explain yourself.
What?
That's going to be a good story.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't know. I just don't like reading.
You don't like reading?
I just don't like
It's
reading.
a terrible excuse.
It's really true.
And there's a lot of truth behind that because I loved reading.
Mm.
I was the kid who went to the library and tried to get 6 or 7 books out at one time. I couldn't stop reading, and comic books provided that because there's a lot of lengthy comic book, word balloons with the dialogue. And like I said, I was reading 2nd and 3rd grade, but the vocabulary was much higher than that.
Yeah.
And what I didn't know, I would look up to find out what it meant.
It's crazy that I think you would like RPGs.
Yeah?
Yeah. There's an aspect of what you love about comics, what you love about heroes, what you love about villains that sits in the RPG genre that I feel like if I can just get you to sit for 1 hour at a time to be able to dig into these characters, you'd be all in.
I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like anything that expands my my imagination.
Yeah.
Anything that just takes me away from real life. Real life sucks, right? But comics is a medium that takes you away from all of that.
Mm.
So even villains. There were some villains I looked at that I said, are they really villains? You look at Magneto, who's a very complex character.
Magneto
Magneto
was right.
Magneto was right.
Mm-hmm.
So was Galactus. Galactus was a world eater.
Yeah.
But
well, Galactus is, as I understand it. Is that right? Like the way the Fantastic Four film, because I walked into Fantastic Four knowing next to nothing about Fantastic Four, and I was happy for it.
You didn't know nothing?
No, and I was happy for it because that's what I've loved about the MCU, where people like Moon Knight don't know you, people like Loki don't know you, barely knew anything about Thor except the historically accurate Thor, right? Well, theologically Thor. So when I see how they portray Galactus, what I understood it's not a villain, so to speak, even though they made him a bit villainy. It is just like, it is his nature to do this. He predates the existence of the universe.
Right.
It just is.
Right.
you know? I feel like that kind of explanation is what's often missing. But again, without the MCU, I wouldn't even know about it. Now I want to dive deeper. Right.
And that's good that Kevin Feige created that universe for people like you, really.
Yeah.
It does cater to the diehard comic book fan. And most comic book fans would agree that a lot of the superheroes in the movies, their powers are nerfed. Like Thor and Hulk, they're not as strong in the comics, in the movies, as they are in the comics. They have to do that.
Broken.
Yeah, they had to do that, because they couldn't have Hulk could break the world in the comics. You can't have them in a movie. So you have to nerf the character a little bit. After a while, I remember when I saw the first Iron Man movie, I was not an Iron Man fan. I didn't see the big deal about a guy in a suit. That's the way the comics made it. The movies made it cool with Robert Downey Jr. and the AI inside the suit. You bought into the fact that, hey, this has a real world aspect to it. And
So
it made me
and Iron
appreciate
Man
him.
wasn't it back in the day.
No, not really. He had his own title.
Yeah.
He did have his own title, but he was also one of the founding OG characters of the Avengers.
Right.
You know, so he had that going for him. But he was a guy literally in a suit. What was the big deal about him?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think so many people like Batman? Batman's a human being. I think Batman has an unknown superpower, personal, that they've never revealed. But for the sake of reading the title, he was basically a human being, and that's why so many people love Batman. He had all his toys, and he came from this dark past with his parents being murdered. He saw that, and that propelled him to be this dark vigilante.
Right.
You know, people can relate to something like that.
Oh, sorry. A little notification popped up. I had to
Oh,
make sure
okay.
we're good.
Yeah. So that's what I loved about you know, the comic book movies that were derived from the comic books. They took a little title, sort of like Spider-Man. What they've done with the Spider-Man movies is really good. You know?
So we have to talk about Spider-Man because there's a new one coming out this year. You have a question in the chat, actually, I didn't want to miss.
Okay.
Are there comics that you just found yourself saying, this is a terrible, terrible character?
Yes.
And you probably have a list. I felt like you were
I
about
have
to go.
a few, and it's gonna shock some people.
Really? So I'll ask you this. Give me three. Three, I'm not into it, or they're just terribly written. Up to you about how you tackle it.
I won't say they're terribly written, but
Okay.
this one is annoying as
Okay. You can swear, it's okay.
Deadpool.
You find Deadpool to be
Deadpool was annoying
was
character.
annoying.
The movies have done a great job
Okay.
piggybacking the annoyance of him from the comics.
Okay.
He was just an annoying character. I just wanted
That does shock me.
they did a really good job because a lot of times the movies tend to deviate a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that. What was that? It was a Wolverine movie that had Deadpool at the end with the actor who played.
Oh, it was
his mouth was sewed up.
the Wolverine.
That
yeah.
was a bad one.
Yeah.
That was a bad. But what they did with the character was exactly spot on as the comic.
Mm-hmm.
But I hated the character. I hated Deadpool. Deadpool's annoying as shit, but he's cool. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Everybody loves him. And let me think. There was a character in DC called Mr. I'm gonna mess up the name, Mr. Plick or something like that. He was a Superman. I don't want to say villain, but he was sort of like a. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if people may have. His name was written very weird. It had like M. To this day, I don't know how to enunciate the name.
Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, but it's Mr. It looked like a little gnome, like this little tiny
Oh no.
4 foot tall character.
Mr. Pick, was it?
MZ, Mr. MZ, PTLK, something like that in there.
Let's see if Google could do some work.
There he is.
Mr.
There he is.
Oh, geez, we got
Yeah,
close.
there he is.
He looks like a. He's a
And he's
DC
a
character.
super,
so
yeah,
that's fine.
DC character,
So
and I found him very
Mr.
annoying. How do you pronounce that?
I couldn't. Actually, Wikipedia tells.
Yep.
It's MXYZPTLK.
I used to say Mr. Plick.
Mr. Plague.
That's the closest I could get to it. And I find him very annoying.
Apparently, even with the enunciation, it is Mix Yez Pit El Ick.
See, I've never looked to see how it was pronounced.
That is
because I didn't
difficult.
care for the character.
Wow.
He was just
Okay.
annoying. He's like Deadpool. He's annoying to Superman,
Mm-hmm.
and Superman just couldn't beat him. Now you could look and see if he was a villain or a hero. He kind of fluctuated in between,
Yeah.
but he was just annoying to me.
Wow.
You know. And the third one would probably be. Let me see. Let me think. There was a character, a very small known character. He appeared in a couple of comics.
Okay.
He was called Razorback.
Razorback.
Yeah.
Okay. DC or
And
Marvel?
Marvel.
Okay. So
And
you've been
he
hitting you've been hitting 2 Marvel and 1 DC.
Yep.
Okay.
He
Got it.
appeared like in two or three issues of Spider-Man. I think it was Spider-Man Marvel Team Up.
Okay.
You could probably pull it up and you could see he literally looks like a Razorback. He looked like a big hog.
Okay.
He was like this 6'5" big hog. The costume was ridiculous. It just looked foolish. The storyline wasn't bad because it was him and Spider-Man versus the KKK. So the
Really?
storyline wasn't bad.
Whoa! What? That's insane.
Yeah.
I
The
feel
story
like that's a
wasn't
story
bad, but
that
the
can be done well today.
And they never did anything with the backstory of this character. It took
Okay.
place, I want to say it took place in Arkansas or Tennessee, someplace where the KKK was very prominent.
Why
and
was
back in the
Spider-Man
70s.
Arkansas? No, don't get it though. Don't even tell me. Oh, sorry, but explain this one though. Go ahead. You said back in the 70s.
Yeah, this took place in the 70s. Back then, the comics could not put swastikas or any reference to the KKK on the cover. The
Legally.
story could have legally, because there was something called the Comic Code Authority,
Mm.
and they were sort of like the kind of like the gatekeepers to what comics could be released, and they would look at the titles to make sure there wasn't nothing sleazy going on inside the title. Sometimes some
And this
artists
is pre Captain America when he was fighting Nazis.
No, it's around the same time.
Really? Okay.
Like you could show a Nazi on the front.
Okay.
You just couldn't have the swastikas shown. You couldn't show any reference to the Third Reich or anything like that. You could put Hitler on there as long as you're not saying he's fighting Hitler. But in the comics, you could go all out in the storyline. But now today it's probably a free for all. Nobody's going to stop you from doing that. But back then it was very strict as to what you can put on the covers.
Okay.
Because again, little boys were reading these things. You know, the market was for young boys, young men. Women came later, even though there might have been lots of girls reading them at the time.
Right.
Because I grew up with tomboys who knew how to, you know, they loved comic books and they would read them, but they would, you know, read them at home in the shadows of their own privacy. They didn't want other girls to know that they're reading them. Now, you know, girls know almost more than the boys do as far as comic book characters. Breaking them down put me to shame.
Yeah, there's
I'd be
actually
like,
a
didn't
good
know
amount of creators, creators that I have here on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitch that have an encyclopedic knowledge of the characters, of the lore, and the very nature of why the comic was written. That's probably my favorite piece, where it's not just about what was on the page, but how did it get there?
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
Like, you know, from mind to pen, it always makes me feel very confident when someone understands, here's what that person was going through, here's their story, and here's how they got to that whole arc. And in
Right.
some cases, it's good, it's bad, but there's always either a personal aspect or a trauma. It's not just a story they wanted to tell. In some cases, especially some of the women who've spoken on this platform, it's something I had to get off my chest.
Yes.
You know, you made a
Some
whole
people,
world out of it.
Some people could. It was a really bad. One of the worst storylines I ever read was with Miss Marvel.
Okay.
Okay, you know her as Captain Marvel now, but she was called Miss Marvel in the 70s. She had a sash, very sexy-looking superhero. You know, she had these thigh-high boots, high heels, but she was
Yeah, I
very
remember.
powerful.
I saw her back when she was introduced in. At some point in time, Rogue ends up stealing her powers, and that's how she learns how to fly and get
Yes.
super strength. Right?
Yeah, Rogue was just she was pretty much a siphoner. She would, you know, touch you and gain your powers. Human beings, she would put in a coma. Like, let's say me and you don't have powers. If she made contact with us, we would probably pass out, go into a coma. Sometimes we would die. That's one of the backbone of the Rogue character, is that she had to deal with a guy that she was really digging when she was young. Her powers manifested and she put the boy into a coma. I'm not sure if he eventually died, but that was one of the dark things about her powers. She could never make contact.
Right.
And everybody loves, you know, Rogue. Everybody loves her. And she fought Miss Marvel, fought her too long, and siphoned her powers. And so she gained super strength. She gained how to fly, but she also absorbed a lot of Carol Danvers' memories.
Oh.
Yeah. So
So she
Carol
doesn't have her
Danvers
own
created
memories.
a very, was that?
Did she even have her own memories left after that, or no?
Yeah, she did.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
but the trauma really messed Miss Marvel up until she came back around and she ended up with this deep hatred for Rogue. By this time, Rogue was part of the the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, underneath
Under
Magneto with
Magneto,
Toad.
yes.
They changed the name later because Magneto doesn't believe anything he's doing is actually evil.
Yeah.
So they changed to the Legion. I think they call them the Brotherhood of Mutants, which was sort of like, you know, an offshoot of where Xavier is trying to take mutants.
Of course,
He
yeah.
believed in assimilation, and Magneto believed we're the next evolution of, you know, humankind. Humans are meant to be dominated, not coexist with us. He's changed. They've changed that character. He's another complex character that I don't look at as a villain per se.
Magneto's, if I could have artwork, I think I've already told you, you know, how I feel about him. He's never been a character that I've shied away from. And every little comparison that they like to make when they say, oh, it's Malcolm X versus MLK, I don't even like that comparison anymore.
Yeah, I never really.
Yeah, it's a little
bought
too
into that,
surface
yeah.
level. But have you watched X-Men 97?
Yes. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah.
I had to know. I felt like that reawakened the interest in comics again, because I realized that everyone who's losing their mind, right? They say that they animated certain things that was like, that was right out the comic books, like
Right,
literally,
right,
like shot for shot,
right.
they drew it there. I almost feel envious of people who can see that and even have like a deeper amount of, oh my god, like they're nerding out, and
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I just think this is great, and that's really cool. And they're layers deep into it, right? They're catching these little things where they go, are they going this direction? Is that who I think it is? I think it is. Like we were playing Marvel Cosmic Invasion, right?
Mhm.
I've never heard of Annihilus. That character's silhouette. It's not even a full character.
When I said it earlier,
Yeah,
that was the first time.
I've never seen it, and you said Annihilus. I was like, you already know who it is, because they
He's
tend
one
to
of my favorite villains in Fantastic Four villain.
Yeah,
And he's
'cause,
up
like-
there as far as power set.
Yes,
You know?
and I've never heard of him before. That's what I really love. How the other mediums bring you back in,
Mhm.
right? Like a game that's a beat 'em up side scrolling. Now I know about 4 or 5 other characters, how they're interpreted and how
Right.
different they are. Like Thanos,
And that's
will always be a
Capcom, right?
favorite. Yes.
Yeah.
No. That you're thinking Marvel versus Capcom. That game was made
Oh,
by
okay,
a company
okay.
named Tribute.
Okay.
A really small indie group. They're really awesome. But we got off topic.
No problem.
So what I'm gonna have you do, I'm gonna have you open the box.
Mhm.
Tell me what you brought. Not everything, but what made you choose what you brought. And we're gonna go a little bit randomly. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a
Okay.
little bit of fun with this. Okay. I have dice, like every same.
I'm gonna play
person
CeeLo.
does. Oh wait, do I still have dice? Don't mind me, everybody.
I'm trying to remember why did I bring this box.
I might just use regular dice because I'm pretty sure my son, who loves to run away with my stuff, yeah, he probably took it. I'll just use digital dice. Okay, we're gonna use D20 dice,
Okay.
and we're gonna pick a number from. You said you have 70 comics.
There's about 70 in here, but I had to
I heard the dice.
open and
All
hear the dice.
You heard the dice.
right, 1 second. So I'm gonna roll the dice, and whatever number you're gonna count it out,
Okay.
and then you're gonna open that up. Google Dice. Are you ready?
Ready.
Yeah, Foxes. Honestly, this this is my uncle, Uncle Frank. Love him to death, and his son Caleb. Right here, you're out of frame. Come down. There you go. He's got more stories about comics than I've made recipes. Okay,
Really? That's
yes.
a lot.
Ready? Like, trust me, it is wild. His background. I'm gonna make sure you all effing know about it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 3 20s. Okay.
Okay.
Right, and we're gonna add it all up, and that's gonna be the number we come back up with. Okay,
Okay.
that's gonna be a little bit of fun with this one. So we're gonna start off. We're gonna open up this box. By the way, why did you choose a Superman box?
To be honest with you, I had about 4 or 5 boxes out in the open,
Okay,
and I think you alluded to this. Is there ever a time that I'm reading? Oh, I'm cataloging everything, and I stop to read.
yeah,
That's what I was doing. I was,
that right?
Yeah, and I knew I was gonna come down to see you,
yeah.
and I said I'll bring this box because it was the most colorful of the 5 boxes I had out. The other ones were plain white.
If I'll tell you this right now. If you had a box like this sitting, and you walk into someone's house,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter what's going on. They'll understand someone's got a fandom. Right?
Oh, yeah.
There's an
Oh, yeah.
interesting point to them. I think it's beautiful artwork. And I've got artwork.
But these are
literally-
popular now. I mean, they have Superman, Spider-Man, Wolverine,
I've
X-Men.
never seen them.
Really.
Yeah, this is how out of the loop I'm in. So you're going to like drag me kicking and screaming, here, which is gonna be wonderful. Alrighty, so the number we're gonna roll 3 d20s.
All right.
1, 2, 3,
You wanna
and
count
the
'em, buddy?
number is I'm gonna do 4. 32.
You wanna count 'em?
Alrighty, count them out really quickly.
All right.
No, stand right here.
Right.
No, Caleb, get your butt over here. Alrighty, so quickly 1, 2, 3. Go to 32. Go for it.
I'll do it. 2, 3. Oh my God! Look.
Wait, they didn't see that. Hold on.
Oh,
This
oh,
is
there's
the
no back to that.
What? One More Day? Who is this? Gwen Stacy?
Yep.
No, this is
no, that's
MJ.
Mary Jane.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at that. Hold on, I gotta make sure that we're not too bright here because it's all white here. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna raise it up.
Any
That's
weird-
gorgeous.
any
All right,
weird
yeah, go to
comments?
32. Go to
32.
32.
Okay,
yeah.
this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
I see some old comics here. I see stuff from the golden age as he's shifting through it. I'm terrified to see what we're gonna pull out because I know you brought some gems. I know you did.
7,
He has a
28,
bunch of
29,
He has-
30, 31, 32.
Okay.
What the?
Oh, snap. Okay, so Batman: The Dark Knight,
Mm-hmm.
David Finch, Jason Fabok, Ryan Wynn. Oh, sorry. Just gotta make sure we get that right here. Fantastic. Okay. Talk me through. Yeah, what's going on, Trund? Alrighty. So we pulled out The Dark Knight. Do you remember when you got this one?
I do.
Okay. Where'd you get this?
I got this from a comic book store in Manhattan,
In
52nd
Manhattan.
Street, 5th Avenue.
Okay.
It was a little novelty shop. I'd go on lunchtime. Every Wednesday at lunchtime, I'd go up these small little steps.
Okay.
And then this creaky little staircase that went upstairs, creaking, making all kinds of noises. And you see nothing but a whole bunch of middle-aged men going through the comics. The place sweaty and it's musty, but it was a comic book shop. Every
Okay.
Wednesday, the new title would come out, new titles. And I remember buying this. This was part of
This looks
a
like
renewed Batman title. It became The Dark Knight.
Okay.
Off the popularity of the movie.
so. This is like pre 2010s.
Yes,
Gee. Okay. So $2.99 was the actual price back then.
that's correct. Yeah.
This looks like you just got it. Like seriously, that's crazy. Like I'm gonna turn this light around. Hold on, let me see if I can just. There we go.
See,
Because
that
we're
just
really, really
shows-
bright over here. So you ended up getting this really quick before we move on to the next one. Who is this character?
That is oh God, what's his name? Demon, I can't remember his name.
It's all
Look
good.
up DC and put up the Demon.
The
I believe that's
Demon?
what his name was. Yeah, and he would say
DC
this
the
chant.
Demon.
He would actually say this chant before he would. There he is, right there. Eric Etrigan the Demon.
Etrigan the Demon.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and looks like he teamed up. I'm not sure I remember this storyline though, but he's got obviously got the Dark Knight down on his back,
Oh, so
and he's
there's
taking it to him. And I can't remember what the storyline's about, honestly.
Okay.
Because it was I think it was a mini series. It was meant to be an ongoing title, but maybe the sales were down. Batman was just
Something
like
like that.
Wolverine.
Yeah.
Anything you put them on, it was a seller.
Okay.
People would just buy it because it was Batman. And
So we're already at nearly 20 years of history right
Yeah.
here. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
That's what we're starting with.
yeah,
Alrighty. So we're gonna roll. What we're doing is we're rolling D20s. He's gonna
Okay.
pick a number. And then after 2 rolls, you're gonna pick one that you want to show.
okay,
Okay?
okay.
All right, I'm gonna roll 1 and 2. The number is gonna be 13.
13.
13 in.
All right.
This is great. So for folks who are just catching up, my Uncle Frank has a comic collection of over 11,000 comics. He has brought me 70 for us to be able to share
Ooh,
and talk about
This
online.
is a good one.
Oh snap! Oh, and this.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh.
X-Men.
This is the 90s.
Okay, we got an X-Men one. Oh my God!
It
It
doesn't-
feels old, but look at this artwork. Hold on, like not old in
Okay,
not old in a
feels
bad
old.
way, but like hold on, I
Oh,
gotta,
the glare.
move this around.
The
Hold on.
plastic is killing it.
There we
It's
go.
like an-
So there we go. Check that out. Just gonna try to get this as
Who's on the
feasible
cover
as
of that one?
possible. Yeah, there. Oh wait, there we go. Okay, that's an Uncanny X-Men. This
Oh,
is
that's the-
who is that?
That is the dude
'Cause I
from
see-
the
From the
the
Brotherhood?
Hellfire Club.
Okay, because I see.
No,
Lady-
I'm
I see
wrong.
Lady
This is the
Deathstrike.
Reavers.
This is
This
the
is the
Reavers?
Reavers. Yeah, Wolverine had sliced these guys up
Okay.
so badly they came back with cybernetic implants.
Even Lady
This is
Deathstrike?
Lady Deathstrike.
Mhm.
She morphed her
How'd it go?
body to fight Wolverine. She got enhancements and everything because
Just to get back at him.
yeah, just to get back at him.
Wow. Okay.
And this was one of the Reavers. He was like a mercenary. There was like 5 regular guys, mercenary, went after Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine cut him up so badly that when they came back, they had cybernetic enhancements. And their
it's go-
sole goal was to go after Wolverine. Of
That's
course,
pretty
Wolverine's now part of the X-Men,
Mhm.
so they want to go after the X-Men also.
That's wild.
Yeah, this was very big in the 90s because that's when Jim Lee came on. And it predates Image
So-
because a lot of those artists left Marvel and created
This is
Image.
1989.
Oh, so it's 80s.
Oh my God.
Oh.
That's wild. Yeah, it's
yeah,
1989.
89, yeah.
I like this
All right. So
guy.
yeah, this is from 1989. Here, I'm just gonna put it up
Yo,
here.
his mohawk is
Yeah.
wild.
I gotta work on my my wife's camera can do this better than mine can,
Mhm.
but that's
Yeah, but that
insane.
plastic is killing the
Oh yeah, but I'm not
reflection,
gonna
too.
take it out.
Oh, if you want to. Yeah.
I'll take it out if it's definitely going to be there. And guys, please like the live if you're still here. That helps us out a lot right now. So we've got 2000 era,
Some, yeah.
the 80s. All right,
It had
and
me
2
beat. I thought
rolls.
that was definitely 90s.
That's insane. Alrighty, so you pick pick one that you'd like to share with us if you know where it is.
What's in here?
The first one's Luke Cage, so it's hilarious.
Sift
But
through
yeah.
Um,
Well, that's just
You-
Sift
let's
through
see.
it.
Oh man, Captain Marvel.
What else do
Star
you got
Wars?
here?
Oh yeah, Star Wars comics. Oh
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, Dark Knight 3.
What?
Frank
What is
Miller.
this?
The
All right,
Master
so-
Race.
Can I open?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
It's gotta make sure my hands are good. I
You see,
feel
it's not
like...
taped down. You see,
Yeah.
it's not taped down.
Alrighty, so we have the Dark Knight, the Master Race.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called.
All
yeah.
right, talk me through this one.
So this was a miniseries, the third by Frank Miller,
Okay.
and the Master Race was about.
It's so pristine. Go ahead.
This is Superman and Batman have retired. They've
Okay.
long retired. Superman's daughter Lara has these Kryptonians, and they are modified to be as strong as Superman, if not better.
Okay.
And their goal was to come to Earth and take over. It
As rulers.
As rulers.
Okay.
It forces the superheroes at the time were still remaining. Wonder Woman, you see, is on the cover. She goes back after Bruce Wayne and says, "Hey, you have to come out of retirement." Superman's daughter is leading this cadre of souped up Kryptonians to take over the Earth. And of course, Bruce Wayne he's not with it. He's retired. He's long done. He doesn't want to participate. Long story short, she talks him into it, and it's Batman, it's Wonder Woman, and a whole bunch of other superheroes will come, not so much out of retirement, but join forces to fight these souped up Kryptonians. That's really like the best breakdown of it.
You mentioned Frank Miller in the praise that Frank Miller, respects.
Yeah.
Where'd you get this?
Where did I buy this?
Yeah,
this
do you
comic?
remember where you got this one? Because you seemed excited when you were talking about this. storyline. And Diana looks
I
incredible.
think at this
seriously.
point I'm living in Virginia. So there was only two places I went to in Virginia. There were two comic book shops. One was in Fairfax, the other one was in Manassas. So I had to be either one of those two. It's possible. I don't think I bought that at a convention. I rarely bought comics at conventions. Maybe once in a blue,
Okay.
but not in the 2000s and 90s. I never bought any at the conventions.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't be happier that was your poll.
Yeah,
Now-
that was a good mini series. I didn't think Frank Miller could outdo the first Dark Knight, which was a major hit and inspired the movie.
Yeah. Well, because wasn't Frank Miller also Killing? Am I thinking Killing Joke? No, or am I wrong about
No,
that? No,
not Killing Joke.
No. Who was that? No. Sorry, not who was that.
No,
What else
who
did
did-
Frank Miller produce? Because
He did Daredevil,
Daredevil.
Sin City.
And Sin City. Okay.
Daredevil was really big. He had a great run on Daredevil, where Elektra dies and she actually comes back.
Of course.
That
That's
was one of the
comics.
things I always hated about comics. Jean Grey, who got killed in one of the X-Men titles, was dead for a long time before they resurrected her.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought, man, what's the whole point of reading a comic and being emotionally distressed when a character dies if you just know they're going to come back? So anytime you see a superhero die, a major one, whether it's Spider-Man or Superman or Batman with the broken back, they're going to come back.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. Sometimes it's a lull to try to see where they're going to go next with the character. How many different stories can you come up with to keep people interested? And I think that's what got me away from it. I guess I just went into another station in life. I got to 2020. I'm like, I don't really that appeal to go to the comic store. I would be excited on Wednesdays. Wednesday would come at lunchtime at work in Manhattan. I would walk down 6 blocks, buy my stash, and come back. Still a little bit of time left on my lunch break, and I'd sit there and read, or I'm on the subway reading it on the way home. I didn't care who saw me, but there were a lot of people like me like that. And then the best part is when girls got into it too. It wasn't the thing that girls could hold over you. Now girls were invested as much as you, if not more.
Yeah. And you found community through
Oh,
that.
you definitely felt community. Especially, I wish I had grown up during this time age. Like, let's say the internet was around in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah.
Because then I think more girls would have probably embraced it. There were girls reading them. They just weren't out about it. Because there were boys reading them and didn't want to reveal that they were reading them. Because of it had this type of
It was a stigma.
it was a stigma, yeah. Even my mom said, "Why are you reading this devil stuff?" How Haitians are. They think everything
Yeah.
that's not mainstream or straightforward, there's some type of demonic connotation to it. But I said, "Mom, I'm learning words I never would have looked up before." She didn't care. She didn't want to hear about that.
Yeah.
But these comics have been such a major part of my life. I wanted to put it on to him, but he just never took to it like I did. And I think liking to read, has a lot to do with people owning comic books. I really do. I think if you don't like to read, why would you embrace comics?
Well, man.
Right? So You want me to pick something?
Well, no, Caleb looks like he picked something. So I just saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the X Files. So you can't not pull that out.
All of these are X Files.
But
All of
I
that?
see TMNT
All of
and Ninja Turtles. So hold on.
Go
hold
ahead.
on.
There's things on the Ghostbusters.
I'm gonna do
Oh,
this
wow.
one.
X-Files,
And
all of
Caleb,
them.
you pick one that you'd like to show the audience
Oh,
because I'm looking at this.
Because you have the one that I wanted to read.
This
Where
is
is
the
it?
X Files.
Where is it?
He's so excited. See how excited? This
Yeah.
is the most excited he's ever been, and I've had these comics for like all 13 of his, 14
I
of his
know,
years.
it's really goofy,
I'm sorry,
but you
buddy.
had the one that I really wanted to read in here. It was like the X-Files originals.
This is insane. This is TMNT.
Where is it?
Mulder and not even Mulder and Scully. This is a different X Files team.
Oh, this is the Lone Gunman.
The
If
Lone
you- Did
Gunman?
you ever watch any X Files?
Not as much as I could. I
Lone
finally
Gunman was
saw-
this group of conspiracy theorists, and they used to support a lot of the stuff that Mulder believed in, while Dana Scully was the skeptic.
Aha.
She was the one. They put her on there to kind of like debunk what Mulder came up with.
Okay.
And the Lone Gunman would pretty much support. So she hated them because they supported what Mulder was into.
Look at that. That is gorgeous.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
That's all that is X-Men?
Focus.
X-Files?
Focus.
X-Files.
There we go.
X-Files.
Come on, focus.
Origin.
Come on, focus for me,
Origins.
please.
Yeah, no, this is all I want.
There it is.
Origins.
Okay.
Nice. So yeah, man, I
you
gotta
read
get a
them?
better camera for this because this is insane.
When we get our seats downstairs, you could read them beside me.
Alrighty, so what are you gonna pick for us, Caleb?
More X-Files.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do we got?
X-Files
Okay, so
Origins.
this is the X Files Origins. Is this Mulder's Origins?
It's the It looks, yeah, it's Mulder. You could see him as a child and how he came to embrace stuff that was unknown. You know, there's a big, long, history with Mulder being a child and how he embraced the X Files as he became almost manic in discovering things that the FBI, the Bureau, was putting aside as just being nonsense. He believed a lot about aliens being on Earth and the conspiracy where aliens were working with humans to kind of like take over the world. But people, like anything with aliens, people are going to think you're a crackpot.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, not so much these days.
not these
but-
days.
yeah.
Yeah, but for the 90s, it was great storytelling. It was something that I came in by accident. One person, you're not watching X-Files, you need to watch it. It was already 2 seasons in.
Yeah.
I watched the first episode, I was hooked. Anything with X-Files on it, I had to watch.
Now, I would love the DVD of the X Files because I heard they're bringing it back, and I'm not sure who's there.
Yeah.
But
That's
whether or not
the guy who did Black Panther.
yes.
Yeah.
I believe Jordan Peele also wants to do some as well.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Okay.
Jordan Peele did the Twilight Zone, but he's also interested in the X Files. However, you should know the reason why I mentioned there's a game called Control. If you're an X Files fan, if you're a Fringe Science fan, that is the game that will make you feel like that is part of the universe. It feels as if it was a spin-off, and it's incredible writing.
Okay.
Now, it's an action game, but you don't really have to focus on it. But when you start reading the files in the game, when you start reading the science, when you start seeing the science, and you start seeing that somewhat an uncanny ecosystem where things are very normal to people in the world, but you're just like, this is all weird.
Right.
That's going to be your game.
And this is based as an original.
It's original work.
Okay,
It's called
so it's
Control.
not based off a book or a
No,
comic or
not at
anything
all.
like that.
But it is fascinating.
And it's called what?
Control.
Control.
Yes,
Okay.
the Bureau of Control is the name of the organization, but you'll love it.
Okay.
So that's pretty sick.
Sounds
This
like
is-
right up my alley.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, for every comic that you tell me that you find the origins, I probably have a game to be kind of like get you in there. But that's how I feel comfortable.
Good.
So
And then there's some titles, some storylines, some arcs that really stay with you. One More Day, which I pointed out.
Yeah.
Do you know the
one
whole-
more day. No, I don't. Do you want to pull it
Yeah,
out?
yeah. I think I got.
He knew exactly where it was. Wow.
Well, I saw it when I was counting. So it's a 4 issue, and each one.
Oh wow. Oh, okay. So this is Mephisto,
Mm-hmm.
Parker,
Yep.
and
Mary Jane.
Mary Jane. So talk me through this particular series. Hold on.
So-
they can't see it. So I want to ask you to hold
Sure.
Mephisto up, and I will
see,
hold
where's the
these
camera
up.
right
Oh no,
there?
yeah. Come back. Just go backwards here.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the work right here. There you go. And just tilt it forward. That artwork is gorgeous. So clean. Yeah. So talk me through these.
So One More Day happened because of Civil War
Okay.
in comics, what the movie was built off of. And one of the storylines, there was many storylines in the Civil War. Aunt May gets killed you know, she wasn't the target. She was accidentally killed.
Yeah. Was that Kingpin?
No, that was gosh, who killed her?
Mm.
I can't remember who killed her.
Well, whoever it is, they paid for it. But go ahead.
Yeah, so you know, Peter Parker just felt he was nothing without Aunt May. You know,
Okay.
Aunt May was pretty much his rock, his stability. He was able to thread the line between being Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Right.
And the harshest thing he had to deal with is Aunt May hated Spider-Man. Hated him. You know,
Oh, she
had no
didn't know.
idea that Peter was, you know, Spider-Man too, but she absolutely hated Spider-Man for all the notoriety, and thanks to Jonah Jameson
Mhm.
putting out that he's like the ultimate villain,
Yeah.
which wasn't true. But anyway, a Spider-Man said, you know what? He's married to MJ at this point.
Okay.
You know, so they're married, and he basically makes a deal with Mephisto. He's saying, hey, I would do anything for you to bring back Aunt May.
Mm.
And Mephisto says, well, you know what? I'll bring her back, but he would make everybody in the world forget that, you know, he was ever married to MJ. It's sort of like what the movie did
With Doctor Strange.
With Doctor Strange.
Right. Forget
Yeah,
that.
they just used
Forget
the
that
whole
about Peter
multiverse
Parker.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody would forget that, you know, MJ in the movie would not know that her and Peter were together and stuff like that. So he uses the one more day storyline as if he had one more day to kind of change the events that killed Aunt May.
Mhm.
And so Aunt May would live once he made this deal. Nobody would ever know he was Spider-Man, even MJ. He'd pretty much be starting from scratch.
Right.
And that was the whole foundation of the one more day storyline.
That creates a very different Spider-Man.
Very different, yeah, because everything he was ever known to be was because of where MJ took him, you know, and what Aunt May made him, you
Right.
know, when he lost Ben, you know, Ben Parker.
Mhm.
That shaped his strength in being
Is
Spider-Man.
there an audio playing near you right now? Is your phone on you? Huh. I hear
What?
music. Nothing in your pocket?
I hear a draft.
I don't even. Oh,
Oh, it's weird.
yeah,
Sorry.
fine.
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
I heard a
So,
wind, but I
yeah,
didn't
we
hear
just have
music.
to be careful with copyright protection. That's why. Like if you play certain
Oh.
songs, they'll knock you offline. Be like,
Yeah.
no, you're not allowed to do
Yeah,
that.
if anybody knows that, it's him.
Yes. Yeah. You know. Sorry. So that is.
Yeah, so this
this is the,
this
is the
lingered
full
with me.
run.
Yeah, it's a 4 run. It's a
Okay.
4 issue
Who's missing?
run. You have the other one
Oh,
there. I'm not sure who's
yeah.
on the cover. Maybe Spider-Man. Maybe on the original one.
Wait, do I? No, no.
I
'Cause
thought-
you pulled out MJ originally.
Was there? Did I miss? Oh, I sure did. Here we go.
Nice. Oh, and there's Spider-Man. Okay, that makes sense.
So it's got all the major players, you know. And what attracts me to this, well, I was reading Spider-Man anyway at this time,
Yeah.
so this was just continuity. But I love that they kept each major character of that issue on the cover.
That is
And
sick.
that was a storyline that stayed a lot with me. Of course, everything was undone. You know, he ends up marrying her again anyway, and most people are really
retcon,
upset
right?
with this. This really caused a lot of dissension with a lot of diehard Spider-Man fans.
hmm
Joe Quesada, who was, I believe, he was the editor in chief
Yeah.
at the time,
Yeah.
he was going through a nasty divorce,
Oh,
and
boy.
people think that had a lot to do with why. I don't know how true that was. I knew he was divorcing. I don't know if it had any influence. A lot of people felt it did. Sometimes real life does bleed into
Yeah.
to comic books, and you
Look at
see a character go off the rails, as they call what do they call it, jumping the shark. You know, it just makes a character do something they never would
Hey,
have done
Queso.
before.
Oh, so hold on. Quesadilla is somebody I want you to meet this man.
Okay.
Because he's amazing, and here's why. He's one of my favorite streamers. He's doing all the content that everyone should be doing. But right now, if he hears what I'm doing, he's gonna lose his shit. Because I think he's a comic fan, but he's a big anime guy
Okay.
like me. But the reason why I like Queso is because if he was here in this room, he'd be losing his shit right now.
He's the type of guy like next to me. Then.
Yeah, I've never had somebody who's more hyped about my own shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I'm not even close.
And
but
please, if you have people in the chat
Yeah.
correcting me, because some of my details could be a little fuzzy because I haven't written them in a while, please do.
I
Don't-
definitely
don't-
will.
yeah.
They're really kind about it. They're
Okay.
like good folks.
Yeah.
But just to let you know what we're doing here, this is my Uncle Frank. He's been collecting comics for 40 plus years. He's got 11,000 in total. He has brought me 70 comics to essentially come and check out, and he's telling stories about how he got them or storyline backgrounds. We were just going over the One More Day line, which is just incredible. And Right now, we're just kind of going through it, mostly because between him and his son, there's a deep amount of interest here and a waning amount of interest here. But we're gonna see if we can get him involved. But I'm the one that knows nothing about comics. Really, I'm not learning about these storylines. But the fandom and the depth of all this has just been incredible.
Well, you
So,
did pretty
yeah.
good. I think one thing about the MCU movies, it made a lot of people. Well, you had the MCU fans who only knew the movies and about those characters through the movies. Then you had the diehard fans who would kind of poke fun. Oh, you only know this because of the movies. And that would make the MCU fans say, you know what? I'm going to pick up that title where this original story came from.
And see
I'm
where it
going to
goes from
educate myself and I could hold my own in a debate. And you got to appreciate that.
I
You really,
deeply
you
do.
really do have to appreciate that.
I learned most of my comic knowledge from YouTube creators, actually. Like people like Emergency Awesome and other folks who are really into that particular medium, who speak on comics. They talk about the whole run. They share the artwork. They go, "This is what happened," and they give us a synopsis of the entire comic.
Right.
And even though it doesn't quite capture reading it yourself, they make you feel like you're part of the story.
That's
they
good.
debate it. They don't really always give their full opinion. They don't like, "Oh, I like the way this went." They don't really like critique it, so to speak. But if they're hyped, you're hyped.
Okay.
It's awesome. So we're rolling dice. I'm gonna go for
Sure.
I'm gonna go for another two small ones. Alrighty. It's gonna be nine. So he's
Alright.
gonna go through 9, and we're gonna essentially pull that out.
2, 3. It's gonna be X-Men again. 6, 7, 8. Pull that out,
9.
buddy.
Alrighty. And then after this one, you get to pick another one that you want to.
Okay.
talk about. Okay. So every time I pick one up, there's two things that I notice. When it says $1. And then when it feels
Dollar.
like the paper's older, I feel like I'm holding something so delicate, and I see this symbol, right? So you got to tell me a little bit more, because this feels like this is a 1989 comic.
89.
All
In
right.
the 80s again, right?
1989, right here. This is Uncanny X-Men. What's going on here?
That looks like, well, it's Colossus unleashed against the Genosians. So Colossus, outside of his, there was a time Colossus lost his mutant
His armor.
abilities to
Yeah.
change.
Oh.
And I think that storyline takes place through this. Genosha, what was Genosha? I remember this. It was a country. I think they had some type of anti-mutant sentiment thing going on.
Okay.
They-
Wait, this is
back-
before Genosha was the safe haven for mutants.
It may have been. I'm a little fuzzy.
It's okay. No, keep
Yeah.
going. Keep going.
Yeah. So, and I believe this is Dazzler. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not sure what this storyline is about.
Gotcha.
But I know it ran in the thick of when it was extremely popular.
Gotcha.
Maybe even Jim Lee, who drew this, not this cover, but may have drawn the inside.
This is Silver
Silvestri.
Silvestri.
Yeah,
Green.
this is Mark Silvestri drew the cover, but inside it's not abnormal to have a comic book artist draw the cover
Yeah.
and another one do the inside.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because some guys will get paid per cover, and then the guys will be paid per page.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Now you get to pick one that you want to share. Now,
okay.
You do have Superman. Now I'm curious what Superman.
Yeah,
you
let's go to
brought.
that one.
But
Well, much,
Yeah, this is
much,
wild.
much, much. They go, like you have to skip Star Wars, and after then it's over here. I went through the whole thing, so just to find the X-Men stuff. So
Okay.
hey, Juju. Hey,
The
Brianna. Good to see you guys.
X-Files.
Superman Unchained.
This looks like this is New 52. Okay.
Yes, it's
Wait,
part
so
of the whole New
this
52
is
storyline.
this is episode. Sorry, this is issue 1.
Issue number 1 of
Issue
the
number
New
1
52.
of New 52. Look at that.
Superman solo
Okay.
title line.
So this is a Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. What is this all about? Because I see Scott Snyder, is not the same Snyder who's working on the Ultimate.
No, I used to make that same mistake. You got
Really? Okay.
what's the other Snyder's name, buddy? There's Scott Snyder, who's the writer,
Okay.
and then you got Snyder, who's involved with the movies. I can't remember his first name now. It escapes me, but,
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who's the Snyder working on the Ultimate series? Do you know?
Ultimate series.
Absolute series?
Oh,
Absolute.
Oh.
Do you know who's working on that?
Google.
I am totally in the dark with
I'll be right
Absolute.
back with the
It's all good.
answer.
So we're looking at episode 1 of the New 52. Talk to me.
Well, for anybody who knows, DC took 52 of their core titles and rebooted them again. They started them from scratch.
Okay.
So the Justice League, there's a Justice League storyline somewhere in here where they are meeting for the first time
Okay.
with a new, different arc. They're younger, they're unseasoned, they're sort of like coming into the fold. and it was to tap into new readers.
Mhm.
Readers didn't have to go back to the 70s and 80s to read on these
Gotcha.
these starting titles. They could
I
start
didn't,
with
even
these.
I didn't even need to search it up. Scott Snyder.
So
Scott
it is Scott
Scott
Snyder.
Snyder.
Okay, so yeah, same artist.
Oh, I didn't
He
know
was
that.
working on the Absolute
Scott
franchise.
Snyder.
Okay, got
Okay,
it. Nice.
so that's good. That's a comic book guy, not the Zach.
Okay.
So that was for new readers. They catered 52. The old readers could jump on board too. I did.
Yeah.
It was a nice, refreshing take. But in my mind, you never forget how it really began.
Okay.
You know, so it was to bring new people into the fold.
Now, wait, you got this probably recently, right? This isn't like how long ago did this come out? Let's see.
$4.99, I would say in the mid
Does it say,
90s, maybe late
The
90s.
back. Does it say
Wait, the
it?
new 52 is the
No,
mid.
no, I'm wrong.
I
It
was
says
gonna say, what?
2013.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
What, so- okay, that's wild to me. This is gonna sound foolish. I thought the new 52 was very recent. Like maybe that's how.
Well, it's
behind
recent
I am.
enough. That's less than
how
what,
recent-
12
how
years
recent
ago,
were
But
right?
you
that's still 12 years.
And
Like,
it
are we
ran-
still following these Superman
No.
rules right now?
No,
No. Okay.
no. The
'Cause-
new 52 folded maybe in a couple of years after.
Really?
Yeah.
Fold. What do you mean folded?
Well, they went back to continuity. They
Oh.
removed the new 52 imprint on it, and they just picked up where they
Left
sort of
off?
like left off. Yeah.
That's a shame.
And that was poor DC. You know, DC was trying to keep up with Marvel.
okay.
A lot of times, I think right now DC is actually doing better than Marvel, from what I hear, from what people are telling
in the
me.
comic book
In the
area.
comic books, yeah.
So now I see Superman Unchained. It looks like you have.
Yeah, this is number one. There's two.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an
Then
ongoing.
number 3.
Yeah, pull them all out.
The
buddy.
Dark Side. Oh
Number
yeah. So
3,
we're going all
number 4.
Superman.
And
here.
these are
I
all
believe
this is,
number
and
5
Jim
was
Lee's drawing this
Luthor.
line
Really?
That
Yeah.
is really cool.
because Jim Lee took over as I believe he was some type of president and wasn't doing a lot of artwork, but he
he's
really
getting
came
a
out
little
of
pummeled right there, but
it was. And Jim Lee was a dynamic artist. You see the covers that they just great
They-
stuff.
I mean, the artwork is insane.
Mhm.
Like I could just probably look at this all day. You see, you see how I feel about artwork. You know, like
Yeah.
this right here, back here. Hold on, if I can move the chat. That's Castlevania, right? That's from Custom Art. If you know Castlevania, you know how badass these two characters are, right?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
Alucard and Richter
I've heard,
Belmont.
yeah.
And if you've ever seen the anime, you would know that these characters just fly off the page,
Mhm.
so off the screen, and it feels like when you consider these are video game characters.
Okay, yeah, I
Right?
figured as much. Yeah,
And if it came the other way around, like I feel like it's probably gonna go full circle where when video game, show, film, and then it might come to comics again.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised. But this is gorgeous. So why did you choose this one, Superman?
honestly,
Yeah.
Jim Lee.
Really?
I would buy anything that Jim Lee
All
draws.
of those.
Okay.
From the
and
time
he's
it-
that kind of artist.
Yeah, from the time he started drawing X-Men, which
Mhm.
is the X-Men titles that I pulled out,
Yeah.
I will look at anything that he draws in. That could be Image. He did a title called Wildcats when he joined the Image artists when they defected from Marvel.
Oh, so
Because these artists, Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, they all wanted to be paid for the
I like
characters
that
they
one.
created.
Right.
But Marvel was pretty much saying, you create a character for us,
It's ours.
it's ours.
Mm.
Nothing wrong with it. I personally didn't think there was nothing wrong, but Todd McFarlane created Venom, with
Oh,
another
yeah.
writer. He didn't get no residuals for it, but that's the way the rules weren't broken.
Mhm. It
I
was just
mean,
how it was
Marvel
back
just
then.
did it that way.
Yeah.
They wanted to create characters where they could control if they make movies off of it and they get residuals, much like Todd McFarlane created the toy line. That's why he's a millionaire now, because you don't hear people in the comic industry becoming millionaires. But when these guys left Image, they made some pretty good money they weren't making in Marvel.
Because the fandom and the community that
The fandom, the community, the ownership of IP,
Mm-hmm.
those were things that they really embraced. That's why they left the business. And Image had a really rough start. The first 4 or 5 years, their titles were 3-4 months behind. They had a lot of issues, and people thought it would just burn out, but it's still around. And Image gave us Spawn, which is the longest running Image title.
Really?
I think it's still going.
In
It's
pure
got-
continuity.
in pure continuity, I think it's up to about maybe 400 now. I think
Jeez. Okay.
I topped out at about 300. I think that's when I stopped reading Spawn. But Spawn was one of my favorite reads. Loved Spawn.
So, personal aside, gaming fans will know this.
Mhm.
If I could choose one battle to see that would never happen, it would be Dante from Devil May Cry versus Spawn.
Devil May
You-
Cry.
Yes, big Devil May Cry fan. Most of the stuff's Devil May Cry.
Mhm.
Devil May Cry, it's a half demon, half human demon
Mhm.
hunter.
Right.
I feel like him and Spawn have so many similarities in power scaling, where all of a sudden like the plot works for the character.
Okay.
But I feel like those two would just make it one hell of a fight. That's all. I wouldn't say anything else.
That
Like,
was
I
that
don't
was your
like-
dream battle, or
That's
that-
like yeah, because as somebody who doesn't really know Spawn the way
Mhm.
other people know Spawn, and understanding Dante the way that I do from top to bottom,
Right.
it just feels like one of those random what they call the dream fandoms. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You know, in the 70s, there was a title called, it wasn't Marvel Team Up, but I want to say it was villains who teamed up, like Doctor Doom and let's say Namor.
Mm-hmm.
And you could question if Namor's really a villain per
Yeah.
se. He's not really a villain.
Namor's a leader, is what I call him.
Yeah.
That's what he's got to do. Yeah.
And they would put certain villains together, and it was a title shown from the villain's perspective, because everybody's a hero in their story, right?
of course, yeah.
Villains don't look at themselves as villains. I mean, so yeah, sometimes you have them doing the maniacal laugh and twirling of their mustache. They know they're bad guys, but some villains don't think they're bad. They think they're doing something that is not only good for them, but for something that they support. And the superheroes are in the way. To them, the superheroes are villains.
Mm.
But if I had a dream villain matchup,
Mm.
Onslaught versus Doomsday.
Onslaught
knew it.
versus
I knew
Doomsday.
Yeah.
it. I actually knew it. I knew
That's
you were
a
gonna say
lot.
That's a wild one, right?
So, correct me if I'm wrong here. As I understand, Onslaught is the manifestation of the consciousness of Charles Xavier and
Mhm.
Magneto,
There you go. Yeah.
made into God knows what.
Right.
But Doomsday, I'm gonna go with the animated version. Of
Yeah,
Doomsday,
animated version.
right? Whereas, like, no matter how many times you keep on, working through him, he
Mm.
will adapt and come back to life.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't want to say unkillable because nothing's really unkillable. But whatever killed him, he will adapt, and you can't kill him the same way.
And that's pretty
Is
much
that
how they
Doomsday?
bred him. That's very close.
Is
Yeah.
that right?
Very,
Okay.
very, very
Did I
close.
miss anything with them?
Not really,
Okay.
except the. No, I think you got it spot on.
Is that right?
Yeah, because
Nice. Okay.
at the
Thank
time,
you,
do
YouTube.
you remember the storyline where
Death
Doomsday
Superman.
kills Superman?
Yes.
I thought it was a gimmick. I
Really?
figured, yeah, I wasn't buying Superman at that time. That
Yeah.
wasn't a title I was collecting. And I saw it on the rack, the first run, and it showed, the flagpole with Lois Lane holding Superman,
Yeah.
the flag, the dramatic flag,
Yeah.
not
Wasn't that
flag,
it was
the
his
cape,
Yeah, exactly.
all torn up. And the comic book was nothing but splash pages. That's
Mhm.
it. Pretty much, splash pages, right? You know what that is?
Splash. No, not really.
That's one size of fighting.
What's
It's,
that?
it's saying we're complete verification. It says we're not active. I'm active. We're right here. It's so weird.
The lights.
TikTok is a terrible place. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, splash
Yeah.
pages are pretty much full page artwork.
Okay.
It's one panel telling a story.
Hmm.
And the battle went on for 16 pages of Superman hitting him, Doomsday hitting him in another until
Gotcha. Yeah.
Doomsday eventually killed him.
Hmm.
But I still thought it was a gimmick. I thought it was just one of those one shots, but
Yeah.
it became very huge. Superman was dead for several months. And you
Several
had
months. Okay.
the reign of Superman. There were all these other Supermans who took the mantle of Superman. You had a cybernetic Superman. You had a Superboy Superman.
Mhm.
You had one called Steel, who had the big metal
Like
hammer,
Shaquille O'Neal
like
Steel?
Shaquille O'Neal,
But not
yeah.
that same steel.
but not that same one. But it had the same. He was
Idea.
built the same way.
Yeah.
The Shaquille O'Neal came after the comic,
Hmm.
and so it was called the Reign of Superman. Superman was going to come back,
Mhm.
and when they kind of took snippets of this and put it in the Justice League Zack Snyder movie. They did
Gotcha.
put that, but that's probably a dream. It's so weird and off balance. Onslaught versus Doomsday. How does that work?
Yeah.
So that's probably something I would wish to see. Of course, it would never happen.
Well, you never know. I mean, this is the only when I think about AI usage,
Mhm.
right? This is the only time where I go, "Hi, we're two people who can never afford to animate this. Can't afford. We could draw it. We can do whatever.
Sure, yeah.
But it's like if I can do that in my own little corner, not try to monetize it, don't try to do anything where you try to make money off of it or try to get popular.
Pure
It's like,
fun, right?
hey, if I'm just like in my own little house and I can watch this whole thing play out in my head and you can do it well, I'd be okay with that. That's probably the only line where I go pure fantasy fan fiction,
Mhm.
right? And the comfort of my own home, right? Like the equivalent of taking action figures, right, and smashing them together and coming up
Right,
with that.
right,
That's probably
right,
my
right.
only like where I'd be interested to see that.
Okay, so you see, that's the imagination running rampant with that, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
something that can help me produce it, I'd be interested. But like I said, like I don't need to have a whole series printed and
Right.
monetizing and stealing from people. Like that's
I
unnecessary.
mean, you can't have a whole series of just slugfest, right? There has to be some type of substance to it, a storyline, something that keeps the fans involved.
Now,
Right?
can I ask you a question? Actually,
Sure.
this is what's the word? I'm gonna be careful about how I say this.
Mhm.
This is my biggest problem with most comics, especially the hardcore comic fans who critique and speak about what happens in the MCU and the films and in the show.
Mhm.
Because what they often say is, in the comics, X person does
Mhm.
this,
Mhm.
and therefore I don't believe that this would happen to this individual, right?
Right.
And after a while, every time I've heard the ending or the end run to a majority of these particular comic books, right, where their powers get so ridiculous, like I was like, how do you walk that back,
Mhm.
right? Like, there's been some stuff that's more or less fun where
In the movies? Or you
no,
mean
no, in the comics,
In the
like,
comics.
in the comics.
Okay.
Like I think I
You have an
heard-
example?
one person had talked about a comic where Ghost Rider had tested out to see if he could use the penitent stare on Galactus, right?
Mm,
And I apparently Ghost Rider can become some giant embodiment and become as big as Galactus and
Mhm.
fight him. And I was like, wait, when did the Spirit of Vengeance on Earth have the ability to even confront a god of that style? And it felt like the whole thing was tongue in cheek. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. It
Right.
felt like it was fun, but I didn't understand. Well, wait, hold on one second. Oh, nice. Sorry, I missed Justin's statements. I was, yeah. So essentially, when it comes to, and Shaq is John Henry Irons. It's the
Yes,
same
John
team.
Henry
Oh,
Irons,
there we
yes.
go. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chat, dude. The window moved. I'm so sorry. But essentially, if you were to look at it from that point of view, where the characters become so larger than life, and then every single conflict becomes the end of the universe, the end of the world.
Yeah,
This
it
is
gets
where it becomes
tiring,
a little
right?
ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Even Invincible, I'm like, where does Invincible end at this point, right?
Right.
Like I like it, but I was like, oh, they've killed hundreds of thousands of people on Earth, and it becomes this whole thing. I feel like sometimes when I have a comic that's a little bit more grounded in like the one-on-one relationships,
Mhm.
I feel like that's why I would prefer those a little bit more, right?
Mhm.
And let me know if I'm crazy, but at what point does it stop?
You're right about that.
Is that
Yeah.
is that what it's like? Is this
It-
the cyclical nature of it all?
There's usually diehard superhero fans, comic book reading fans
Mhm.
that make me sick. Because honestly, I was kind of like them. When I saw the Iron Man movie and I saw, what movie was it? It was the Avengers? I can't remember. One of the first Avengers movies. And I'm like, in the comics, they would have done this. I had to start looking and say, you know what? As much as they make these movies for everybody, it's really for like newcomers, people who are coming on board who've never heard of Thor. I don't know how. They've never heard of Thor and Iron Man. They're bringing them into the fold.
Yeah.
People like me who appreciate the comics should be able to appreciate that this is a different medium.
Mhm.
This is a movie medium. They're not the same superheroes we read in the comics, so they exist in two different universes.
Yeah.
Once I started doing that, I started appreciating the movies a little bit more. I didn't sit there and comparing them to the comic book counterparts. There was no reason to. That was one universe. This is another. And in this universe, this is what they can do.
Mhm.
And any universe is limited by what that writer has created. They usually say, can Wolverine beat Galactus? Wolverine fans will say there and say, yeah, Wolverine can beat Galactus. Of course he can't. He can't. But Wolverine fans will say that. And Wolverine can beat Galactus depending on who's writing that story. They'll
Yeah.
find some weird way to do it.
That's how Batman always wins.
Batman
Yeah.
can beat
The plot
Darkseid. How
armor.
can Batman beat Darkseid? How is that possible? He can't.
Mhm.
But depends on the writer. It's all limited to who's writing that story. And if I'm willing to let that bypass a little bit to a certain degree. I'm like, of course he can.
Mhm.
Of course he can. But it makes for good theater because you want to sit there and see how are they going to write this story
Right.
to show that It's going to be some gimmicky thing. A lot of Batman fans will sit there and say with not with practice. What is it they say? They say with
Batman with prep time.
with prep time. They love going to that.
That's one of my favorite memes
Yeah.
in the in that universe.
Yeah, with prep time. Batman's still a human being, right?
Yeah.
Still a human, just like Daredevil's a human, just like Steve Rogers, even with the super serum. These guys can be shot. They can't take a bullet. They can be shot. That grounds them to. That's why I appreciate a lot of the street level superheroes. Spider-Man used to be a street level superhero.
Yeah.
He's gone into space now. But Daredevil, Luke Cage,
Mm.
Squirrel Girl,
Squirrel Girl,
Yeah.
which I guess canonically she can beat Thanos.
That's what they said. These are one of those things I said, there's no way she can.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on who's writing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we put those those what ifs
Right.
stories that came out in the 70s. What if the what if stories had to be based on a possibility of that thing actually happening? It couldn't
Right.
just be something like that couldn't have happened that they throw together. I think the Disney Plus series
Yeah,
kind of did
exactly,
something like
yeah.
that based off the movie.
Yeah, and they were limited to how many characters they actually used and what
Yes.
kind of story they were telling.
Yeah.
I heard the rumor, I don't really know if it's true, on they had the ability to use more of the X-Men or other characters, but they just never got to it because I'm
Even
not
now?
an animator. In the last season.
In the last season,
Because
okay.
you finished the whole the show.
I think
and
we watched it. We started watching it here last.
last year.
last year,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know what makes sense, but it just feels like, hey, this was meant to be what if.
Yeah.
I don't know a majority of these characters.
Some of
as
those what
it
if
is.
stories was good in the Disney, but I love the what if runs in the 70s. Those were
Mhm.
really good stuff, and you could relate back to the title where that could have happened,
Mhm.
and that's what made the what if issues really good.
Okay.
I think they tried to come back with it later, but I wasn't reading those at that time. Sometimes when you're stuck in a time period and you
Mhm.
appreciate those things, you can't go back and capture lightning in a bottle a second time.
Yeah.
It's done. Move on to the next, good thing that you can pull off.
Exactly.
So,
So I'm gonna do some more dice.
yes, let's do some.
All right, so I think we're gonna do how many more? 5 more?
Yep,
Yeah.
you go for it, man.
All
I have
right.
no. It's the best
1,
conversation I've had
2,
about
3.
comics in years.
that means a lot.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. So if hold on.
And please, anybody who's up to date, call me out on things I've messed up. My memory's not as great as it used to be. My excitement could be messing up the details.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna pause this for a quick second because I think this thing is. We're live, guys. It's okay. So our TikTok can really,
is good stuff.
yeah, it's fun, and I like doing this a lot because I don't really get the chance to pause live. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then let's resume live. All right, so we're back on just to make sure everything's clean because sometimes it can just get a little weird with bandwidth. 37. Now,
37.
if you don't mind, instead of counting from 1 through 37.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to avoid it.
Okay.
I believe it's X-Files. Is all this X-Files?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll go to X-Files later, but go
Mhm.
through 37 from the start here.
Start 37, then count up.
Count backwards.
Count backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Wow. Okay. This pulls out Vader. All right. So I feel like I have heard so much. Not now. That timing was perfect.
It sure
actually.
was.
He's playing with my combat lightsaber right now, which is a replica.
He
He's
came
having
in the
a ball.
room.
Yes. You should go get him. But
You want it back?
no. Caleb, come back with the lightsaber when you figure out how to turn it red. When you figure out how to turn it red. Good. So, Vader has had one of the longest runs in fandom in period. Right? We
Mhm.
talked about The Voice and James Earl Jones, and we recognize with Star Wars is the fandom struggles, like the new fandom struggles to find the appeal the way the older fans have, right? Like
Right.
Vader's a cool villain, he's cool, but
Is it?
often, nope, full red.
Oh, full
Not
red.
pulsing,
I got
yes.
you.
But when it comes to how they look at Vader, because we know how his fate ends, it feels like his stories, while they do have weight, it feels like it's only adding complexity, not finality.
So, do they look at him as a
Kind of
wounded
like
villain, or do they look at him as an anti-hero, or do they look at him as...
what I've learned is making excuses for Vader, right? Like, he is who he is. Like, here's all this backstory. You have to understand why he's so evil. But then it's just like, you can't keep shielding all the terrible things that he's done
Right.
and helped do.
Right.
So when you look at Vader, I don't know anything about this particular comic, but it looks relatively
Yeah, it's
in the last 20 years, right?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on a character like Vader? Yes, bring it on over. Here you go. You can tell this story. You
Mr.
tell-
Sith Lord.
Tell
here, huh?
this story.
Oh my! It's
Ready?
right
Hold
on
on.
the
Turn
camera.
off the light really quick.
Oh yeah.
All right. I want you to tell this story while narrating in Sith language. Go for it.
Well, you know what? When I grew up, Star Wars was brand new. 1977. Nothing like it had ever been done. The only thing we had sci-fi was pretty much Star Trek.
Mm.
And Star Wars came out and blew the minds off of everybody. Nobody ever saw anything like that before. Darth Vader at the time was just a villain. He was the bad guy. You know, there was the good guys, there was bad guys. There was no confusion about it. Then you start peeling back the layers of the backstory. Then you start saying, oh, you know, he was Anakin, and before his mind got all messed up with the dark side, and he suffered heartbreak, and he suffered pain and suffering and confusion, and, you know, adolescence, you know, a teenager come into his own. I like the fact that they've given backstory, but you're right, it has caused confusion. You know, you kind of sit there and say, well, was he just a good guy who just lost his way? Or was he just pure evil? Obviously, we knew he wasn't pure evil. He started off as a very innocent young boy, lost his mom, and of course, everything just went crazy after that. That would happen to a normal kid, right? Doesn't live in the world of Star Wars. So I think a lot of times when you see Star Wars, you know, like these universes like Star Wars, they want to keep a certain storyline going or a character going. They don't want this to be the end of that character. There's so many nuances, so many other layers they can peel back to show parts that have nothing to do with the Darth Vader part when it comes to Anakin. So to me, it's confusing. It is difficult. You're right. I think before, you know, the prequels, it was straightforward. Bad guy, that's it. And he killed people. He, you know, backed up the destruction of Alderaan. He did all that stuff. You know, pure bad guy. Now you watch these movies, and it's not just Star Wars. You're seeing a lot of movies now where they go back to kind of flesh out the villain, the person we've always just disliked because they were bad. Now you feel a little bit of sympathy for them because it was a Cruella? Didn't they do something with Cruella? And, you know, and Maleficent, whatever her name was. Maleficent. They did the same thing. You're like, well, damn, I just wanted to dislike this character. Now I feel bad for them. But there has to be a good. Then they just do the same thing with Wicked. Isn't Wicked? I don't know what that storyline is, but I know it has something to do with the Wizard of Oz.
We should watch that movie because that's the
Do
only
we really
one I'll
have to?
defend. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah?
It's good.
It's a musical, though, right?
Yes, it is. But good movie's gonna good.
It looks like it's like 4 hours long. Is it long?
2.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
Great movie.
For some reason, Wicked.
Yeah. So I feel like you're in no way incorrect because when it comes to how we think about these individual characters and how we've seen them grow over time, it has been fair to ask for deeper stories, but that's the issue with these expanded universes where are you going to expand or are you just going to explain? Right? If you want to expand, not just new characters, like get away from the other folks. Like that's my problem with Star Wars is that latest show, not Andor, the other one, the one that was Old Republic. I forgot what it was called. Acolyte. Right?
Well, I didn't see that one.
Acolyte, it didn't really do very well, but it was an interesting story. It was kind of like the birth of the
I didn't
Sith.
see it because a lot of people were knocking it. They were really destroying it. I said,
it's like you're still trying to tie this to like the latest story. It's like you could have gone back 2,000 years, had a completely unique story, nothing connected to the
where
the
does this
universe.
fall in the storyline?
I can't tell you the math, but it's like the Sith that trained Darth Sidious, the Emperor, around his time. So it could be
so it goes back before the events of Star Wars.
Way before the events of Star Wars, but it's like within 200 years, but you're still trying to tie it to that mainline storyline.
Okay.
Where I was like, we could have gone back to when were droids created in the Star Wars universe, or a kid who, you know, it could have been a story as a teenager who learns he can use the Force, but there's no Jedi where he is. There's no, like, you're not part of the Galactic Order, so the Force just exists as this chaotic be in a force that doesn't have control, right? Like what is a Jedi without a lightsaber, right? What does that look like?
Right.
You could be making all these great stories, and I'm sure there's authors who've written those stories, but the way Disney's done it, but also the way the fandom has demanded it, it's been hard to get away.
Well, did they demand a storyline like the Acolyte?
I can't say they demanded it, but
that's something I would look into.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a prequel, you have to ask yourself.
You should hold that, by the way.
If you're going to do a prequel, you have to ask, do people care about this storyline? Like Han Solo. Did we need a Han Solo movie? No. There was no reason to do Han Solo. So Han Solo was a great character in Star Wars, but I don't know if we needed to know his backstory.
Right.
Okay, Luke Skywalker, we know his backstory. You know, they did one for Ben Kenobi. That was good. But Han Solo, was that necessary? That's what I would think about when I do a prequel.
Yeah.
If people care enough to hear about or read about this character.
Gotcha.
And I think once you start doing it, not for the love of the character, but just to do it so you could hold on to the rights to the name or keep it going, I think then it becomes foolish. That's what the Sony movies did by doing movies like
Well-
Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man in them. They did
Oh,
Morbius, and they did
Morbius.
Venom was the
there-
only one out of that universe that anybody gave a shit about.
Yep.
Nobody wants to know about Morbius or Madam Web or whatever her name was.
Craven the
Or
Hunter.
Craven. Nobody
Yeah.
cares about that. Not unless you're going to tie it in with Spider-Man. Those stories have nothing to do with Spider-Man
Mhm.
because Sony doesn't own the rights anymore, right?
Well, it's a confusing piece, but we'll
Yeah.
get it back. All right. Colin has just arrived. Good to see you, buddy. I can explain why we are holding a lightsaber, but hold on one second. So, Kayla, I'm going to let you hold that for a
Take it,
second.
bud.
Yay.
This is, and you can turn the light on as well, actually. Oh, actually,
There
no,
you go.
turn that light off. It's actually easier to do with this because the light was giving off too much glare. But right now, we're actually going through his comic collection.
Mhm.
My Uncle Frank, who's been collecting comics for 40 years, brought me 70 of these. And not me for me to keep, we're just talking about it. But essentially, when we have been talking about comics, we've been talking about the stories, where he got them, why you got them, and we ended up landing on Darth Vader, right? Which is a sensational piece, but we started getting talking about his particular backstory. And then my nephew, who can hold my combat sabers, decided to grab it, so we figured we'd talk it. So I gotta take a shot with you because you got the black shirt. It's perfect.
Oh,
right
okay.
now. So what we're doing is we're rolling d20s right now for him to essentially go through the box that he's brought out of 70 out of 11,000. I'm never gonna get over that number. And essentially we're gonna go from there.
But
So-
I'm not even as much as some other people. Some people have like 50, 60,000. They have warehouses or storage units full of comics.
I don't know how. It's insane.
I don't know how. And I was buying them every Wednesday, but I buy maybe about 4 or 5 titles every week.
But for
It
40
adds up.
years, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean we've had some gems here.
Mhm.
Like I feel like when you pulled out the Uncanny X-Men one from the 80s, right? Like hold on, yeah, there we go. He pulled this one from the 80s.
I thought that was
and
a
then he
90s
pulled
title.
out the X-Files, which was like such an amazing one, the original X-Files run. And then we were actually going through the One More Day storyline, which essentially that artwork is just absolutely
Oh, look at
gorgeous
see
here.
what's in here.
Like even in this light, it's just
So, like,
fantastic.
just
So it's been
let's do
wonderful.
A random person like this, and
Alrighty.
just find the.
Yeah, so
whatever.
so we're gonna do one more random,
Okay.
and then you're gonna
What is
do
that?
one that you just like, hey, this is like the best comic I have in this box.
In this box?
Yeah.
What's that?
Justice League. Oh, okay. You know what? You said pick random, right?
Yeah, pick one random and then
Okay.
one that you
And
want to
I
talk
won't-
about. Oh, don't lead them.
I'm not reading it. I just asked what it was.
Let's see. What do I have?
Think about Green Arrow. There's 2 lightsabers.
Captain
Oh.
Marvel. What?
That's
all
an
right.
old one. That's from the 70s.
All right, guys.
That one I know already.
This says 25 cents on it. That's how I know immediately. How
Those were
old
the
it is.
ones I was using my bus pass money to walk to school so I could buy them. These were the comics I was buying.
This is.
I didn't know that was
from-
in there.
This has to be from the 70s. right?
70s, yep.
Guys, look at this shit. That is insane. So, which Captain Marvel am I looking at?
This is the original Captain Marvel. This is
Is it-
pre, before Miss Marvel, before what's the other one? Photon, and before any of the Marvels. This was the
Just hanging
preeminent.
out in the box.
Yes, yeah. It's about. I don't know where I pulled this one from. I don't know if there's more in here, but
That is insane. I don't want to open
that
this.
might have been
I
by
can't open
accident,
this one.
and it may have. I don't see no other. Oh no, there was a few more.
What is the? You have another Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
What could this possibly be
Oh,
worth?
this
right now?
one. Look at this one. 13 cents.
13 cents. This is from the early
60s. That's the 60s. Yeah.
So this is a 1960s.
That one I had to have gotten by trading.
This is a 1960s Captain Marvel. 12 cents.
Oh, 12 cents. Sorry.
12 cents. I don't know what to say. I don't want to touch these. And then another one, 35 cents. Captain Marvel versus Thor. I want to see this fight.
And that was during inflation, believe it or not, because comics were like 20 cents and they
Yeah.
started to go up, and fans were in an uproar. How
That's
dare it go up a dime?
insane. So I'm seeing you caused the Holocaust, Marvel.
Mhm.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Is
Yeah.
this when Captain Marvel and Shazam were having that legal dispute?
Yes.
And
well,
you must be
DC
destroyed?
Captain Marvel had the rights to the name first before Captain Marvel.
did.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But any
Okay.
character in Marvel was
Mhm.
a copy from DC and vice versa. They bit off each other.
I
You know,
still
each
hear it.
one had, you know, it was Superman, and you got Thor, and then you got Batman, you got what? I guess it would be Daredevil. You know, you have like these equivalent.
Yeah.
You had the Flash, and then you had Quicksilver in
Mhm.
Marvel. So there was always like a comparison, a mirror version of a character.
Yeah. Okay, so really quick, before you about to say anything,
Mhm.
I'm looking at 3. Is it fair to say Golden Age or Silver Age?
Silver Age.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
3 Silver Age comics. Hold that up for
Yep.
me really quick. Right? 3 Silver Age comics. What do you reckon these would be worth to somebody who was a collector?
Ooh, let's see.
I'm gonna take a photo of this right now. Hold on.
Do you want me to search it up?
Hmm?
You want me to search it up?
Just take a step back really quick.
Okay. Wait.
Nice. All right, actually, put it a little lower.
Like
I
that.
want to see your face.
Oh, you want to see my face?
Yeah, a little lower. Yeah, there you go. Smiles. Thank you. All right. All right. So, what do you got? What do you think that's worth?
I couldn't begin. I've never looked up the price guide for Captain Marvel.
Really?
There's the X-Men I've looked up and Avengers.
Colin's like $70 bajillion.
Yeah, I've never looked.
I'm afraid to look, but I gotta look.
It doesn't look like it's in mint condition.
But I mean, pretty darn good.
You can see it's worn. That takes the value off of it.
Okay.
Um,
How would I? Is there a number that I would use to look it up?
yeah, number
So-
37. Captain Marvel, number 37.
Captain Marvel number
37.
37. And then I would go 37 value, go collect.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, we're looking at go collect. Cover price is 25 cents. What is it worth?
See, those numbers on the left?
Yeah.
9.8 is the highest.
Okay, so
10 is
9.8,
probably
okay.
the best, and that's
Got it.
perfect.
So this is probably between like a 7 and a
7 and a
9.
half year, probably something like that.
So it looks like it's been selling anywhere
Oh,
anywhere
130.
between $130 to $30.
Mhm.
That's and just sitting there right
yeah,
there.
and this is Captain Marvel is probably what you would call not low level superhero, but he's not, and he is an A-list superhero, but like this one. Put
Yeah.
number 13.
Number 13, Captain Marvel number 13. That's crazy to me. I never thought something like this would even enter my
Yeah,
house.
I
feel like the
never, I didn't even know it was
valuation
in the
of my home just
box.
went
It
up.
looks like, and it's very random. I didn't collect this series all the time, but he's one of my favorite superheroes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So hold on. I went too far. It's go collect, right?
Yep.
Go collect, and that is worth
This is
anywhere between $260 to about $38, depending on where you're looking at.
wow. That's not bad. 38 is not bad for 8.
That's crazy. to
Now
me.
put this at about maybe a 7. It's got a little tear that would take the value down. All
So
these things
all
add
these
up.
little micro things.
Yes.
But even at that point when you're talking about literature that's just been aging over the years, there's
Mhm.
some things that you can't stop unless you're in like a vacuum sealed
Absolutely,
room,
right, yeah.
So it's an understanding.
You'd be
that these
surprised.
things
People
have.
do that.
Really.
Yeah, they do. Like, let's say, what do you think Superman number 1 would be worth?
I
From the 40s.
with the Action Comics one,
yeah,
is that right?
yeah.
I mean,
Didn't Nicolas Cage buy that? Did he buy?
it sounds like something Nicolas Cage
Yeah.
would buy.
And I
He
think
probably
with,
bought
like-
it while he was wearing the suit.
with the long hair, right? When they
Yeah.
thought about using it. Yeah, it's you. There's people who go through great lengths to preserve these things as they looked in pristine condition. The other thing to take into account is how rare it was when it was made. There could be like 500 titles ever made of that one, 500
one
issues
run.
made of that one title.
Gotcha.
And who knows, maybe 499 of them are burnt, and there's only one remaining in the world. Somebody produces that, and guess what? They're sitting on a landmine,
That's wild.
a gold mine rather, not a landmine.
Well, depends on who you're talking
Depends
to.
on who you talk to, yeah.
All right. So I want you to pick for the last one we're going to do today. 'Cause we've been at this for 2.5 hours.
No, it ain't been that long.
Yes, it has. I got a
Oh yeah,
timer
maybe it has
right
been.
there. We were supposed to be cooking dinner already. But
Oh man, that's right.
Yeah.
The girls aren't even back, are they?
Nope, not yet. So no, they're probably not hungry, but we have to make
Okay.
risotto tonight. So I want you to choose one comic
Mhm.
that either you feel like, hey, is the most impactful to you, the most rare, because I mean, I'm not sure if you're going to beat that right now,
Yeah.
or the one that you just feel like, hey, this one's special.
This one matters.
And there can be anyone among it, but you can take your time.
Let's see.
And for the folks who've been joining us on YouTube and TikTok, thank you. It's been really nice. I've been wanting to do this for the longest time. I won't lie, my friends have wanted to be here for this.
Oh, that would have been great.
Oh, they're gonna
They
drive
would-
back down. So if you come back down, they will fly.
Let
for
me
this.
know when it's happening, and I'll bring my little guy here down.
Yeah, let us know
Yes,
if you want us to
please.
do this again, because
You-
it's
you
not
know
like
what,
we have
Andy?
a shortage of books here.
Honestly, I'll go with one more day with what I have here.
Really?
Yeah,
one more day is
day.
the one?
Yeah, to think that the love of your life, you've married her, then your other love of your life is gone,
Mm-hmm.
and in order to keep one alive, you have to make everybody else forget. everything that made you who you are.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
so sad.
it's heartbreaking. It's
Mm.
heartbreaking. But he loved Aunt May, and Mary J gets to live. She just wouldn't know who he is, and the marriage never happened, and a lot of events didn't happen, and it shaped what Peter Parker became later on because of that. To make a deal with the devil, literally made a deal with the devil to bring back Aunt May. And for those who don't know, Aunt May died in the Civil War storyline, and it just destroyed Peter. And he made a deal with Mephisto to bring her back, but Mephisto said, "I'll bring her back, but guess what? Your marriage is gone, and everybody ever knew who you were.
What
Totally
did
forget."
Mephisto get out of this?
It's all about when people make deals.
So it's all that's his MO.
That's his
just-
MO. Yeah, he likes knowing that he gives people free choice. He doesn't make the decisions for them.
Mhm.
He simply sits there and says, "Oh, you want this? Well, what do you want for that? What are you willing to give me in order? I can make anything you want, but you're going to lose something in the process."
Mhm.
"Oh, you made me do that." I said, "I didn't make you do that. I told you to pick. And this is the decision you've made. So we're going to go with that." They didn't use Mephisto in the Spider-Man movie, the Doctor Strange.
Right.
You
Well,
know.
there's a lot of rumors that he was there, but
Okay.
you know, remember, they can
They
write
can always
anything
say,
in.
yeah, retcon a lot of stuff in. We
Yeah.
see it all the time.
And did you watch Agatha All Alone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was definitely mentioned. Like,
Yes.
You know, he is definitely.
So
present,
somewhere along the line in the future, they're gonna bring him into the fold.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know, but I think out of these comics here, this is the one that tugged at the heartstrings a lot. That I came out of that saying, okay, and Spider-Man was one of my favorite characters. So to see that happen to him, and he gets to keep the memory of all of that. You know, he keeps the memory of all of the events that brought him to that moment.
So he still has to deal with the reality of what he's done.
Yep.
The consequences of it all.
Yep.
And he knows the what if.
He knows everything about it.
What does that Peter become?
He becomes a little distraught. He got his arm back, but he loved Mary J.
Mm-hmm.
Loved her. You know, but again, the fans in the know were saying Joe Quesada was going through a bad divorce, and he spearheaded the storyline.
Really?
You know, what did he care that? You know, oh, that's a comic book character, but it's not real life. But for some people, comics become part of their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it became that for me, but not in a way where I'd go out there and be distraught about it. But
Yeah.
You know.
It sounds like a mature story too. It
it's a
doesn't
very
sound like
mature
lot of,
story.
like,
Yeah.
punching and like
It
a lot
left
of
fans very
chaos.
divided. Some people said it was good storytelling, while others said it was a cheap shot. Real life events being brought into comics was supposed to be a fantasy medium where you go away. It's like pulling politics into comics. You don't want
hate
that.
argument. It's just like everything is political
Yeah.
eventually. Like
Yeah.
it's always there. There's
Mhm.
always some kind of element that they're trying to make you understand. To say that you're not supposed to bring it back in is just insane.
And that, a lot of people think like that.
Mhm.
A lot of people think that way. And I sit there and say a lot of writing is brought about from experiences people have in real life. You know, so how can it not? Really, how can it not?
Right.
You know, I mean, they've had storylines with Hitler and KKK members.
Mhm.
They've had all of that stuff. So, where does it stop and where does it begin? You know, if people are influenced by something on the outside and they turn it around into a fantasy aspect, you can sit there and say, you know what, that was brought about by somebody's personal experience. Joe Quesada is a human being. I don't know if that had to do with it. I'm just listening to what some fans said. There may be some credence to it because at the time he was a pretty bitter old divorcee. The divorce was very bitter from what I understand. And
Yeah.
he took it out on poor Peter. And poor Peter had to pay the price. But in it was a good storyline.
That sounds like something that would happen to Peter too.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I always laugh where
You talk about a guy who just had bad luck, right?
yeah.
I mean, and I related to that character when he was being picked on as a teenager. He was, Flash Thompson was like the big jock, and he would pick on poor Peter. And Peter had the mindset, I got powers. I could go out there and kick Flash's ass. But he didn't. He used his powers the way he was supposed to use them for, the whole great responsibility and great power thing,
There's one thing, and I'll leave it here because I feel like we started with Spider-Man on this conversation. We'll end with Spider-Man. If there's one thing about Spider-Man that I don't really understand the writers not leaning into, what often happens is when we have these end of the world storyline, like Maestro, right? End of the world storyline, or when MODOK is one of the last mutants standing, being standing.
Mhm.
Every time it's there, there's always this middle part where we don't really see some of the heroes get older. Like what happens
Oh,
to
yeah.
Parker, right? At the end of all this, like even in Spider-Verse, the animated films, it's always Peter Parker as a teenager, young adult, life is always in shambles, right?
Mm.
He does pass the mantle to Miles, but even it feels like it never ends about that middle ground, right?
Right.
We never see how a well-adjusted adult that has powers, that has to cope with these things, gets to the end point, right? Like, why not the older Spider-Man? That's not Spider-Man anymore, but how come we never see the end of that road? Because it feels like we're
Yeah, I
always
guess
in
that's
this
the
bubble.
writers, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you bring a good. We've seen it done with Batman, The
Yes.
Dark Knight, where he actually goes and grows older and retires, and
Yeah. And Batman Beyond, right?
and Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see Spider-Man. I think depending on there's a gazillion Spider folk out there
Mhm.
because of the multiverse. You get to see an older Spider-Man. You get to see a Ben Parker aged Peter Parker. In his 70s and 80s. It doesn't look cute to see a octogenarian wearing a Spider-Man suit with the gun and the turkey neck and all that stuff. So it lends a lot to what you're saying. Where is that story? Where does it end, or does it just forever keep going? The heroes, they don't age.
Right.
You can make the argument. Even old man Logan even got older, right? And he
Batman
has the
is one of
healing
the best
factor.
stories that are there.
Absolutely.
Right? Like Charles Xavier has dementia.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
stuff makes it real.
Yeah,
right?
it does bring it real. And that's why they haven't introduced Magneto to the MCU yet, because they're not sure how they're going to bring him in. He's not going to be the Magneto that went through the Holocaust, that experienced that. That's long. It may be very sensitive to even bring that into the MCU nowadays.
Well, I mean, I
So-
feel like it's necessary because that's part of Magneto's character.
Yeah.
But when you have this continuity issue, right? Where in the MCU it is 2028, almost 2030.
Yeah.
In
So
the
they're
actual
ahead.
MCU right
Yeah.
now.
How do you
Magneto's
fit that
100
in?
years old, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. How would you fit that? We saw them do a good job with that with Fantastic Four. They had the retro futuristic world
a
that they
different
lived in.
time,
Yeah.
and I feel like
How
that's
will
something
they
to
fit
do.
in the MCU though? How will they bring them in?
Well, I feel like, and me is assuming, just like with Spider-Man, right? Like, because right now we have a Spider-Man that no one, we have a Spider-Man that no one knows who Peter Parker is. Like, that's our actual
Right.
616 universe. The
What's the
X-Men,
next Spider-Man movie? What's it called? Brave New World.
brand new something.
Yeah. Okay.
It's out this July.
Brand New Day. I think
Brand
that's
New
what it
Day.
is. Yeah.
So that's going to be every Spider-Man. In my experience, when it comes to MCU and looking at what they did with Fantastic Four as a success, the only way the X-Men work in the MCU is two different ways. Number one, the X-Men that we know come from another timeline, right? It's like, hey, we're not in the same timeline, but we're still Hugh Jackman. What is it? What is the actor's name?
Who?
Patrick Stewart.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Ian McKellen, like that.
Mhm.
Those are the X-Men that are there.
Right.
But I think the X-Men can fit where they had done this animated version of the X-Men where they were teenagers. Like, they had just learned their powers, but it's all modern, so they all
So
have different ways of getting
The
their
OG
powers.
X-Men then.
It's OG X-Men, but the way Xavier and Magneto exist
Mhm.
is just a bit different, where you don't have to force their storylines into everyone else's, but Scott Summers is a teenager, so his brother learning how to use their powers, but they're still moving forward in a modern day.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So
So-
they haven't been introduced to the society.
Yeah,
basically.
so like characters,
But
like,
they've been there all along. They've seen Infinity War. They've seen the events
but
of the
they're
war.
so young that
but
they've
they're so
never been
young,
able
they
to
never
react to it.
interfered. Okay.
And one smart thing someone says is like, if an Xavier exists and you were protecting the X-Men and you're watching how the world is reacting to
Why
it,
didn't you interact? Why didn't you said do something, right?
he could be protecting it because he's already seen how this goes over and over and over again.
Mhm.
So he has the power to be able to say mutants don't exist here, right?
Okay,
Until
okay.
to the point where he can't.
So
right?
do you have what's the world that the X-Men went to? They had a country where only mutants were. I
That
can't
was
remember.
Genosha.
Genosha.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have that in the storyline? Is that something that's been in the background? People were saying when the Eternals happened,
Mhm.
where were they when Infinity War was happening? Why didn't they interfere?
I'd
And
say
they
there's
answered
a-
that in the movie.
There's a very fair explanation. Think about
Yeah,
how
well, they
Infinity-
answered it in the movie. They said they weren't allowed to
They
be
can't
involved,
interfere. But
yeah.
at the same time, hear me out on this one, right?
Mm.
Look at how Infinity War went down, right? Infinity War happens where a small group of people, like the Avengers, know that these aliens came in, tried to steal the stone, and they left, right?
Right.
Only this small group of the Avengers know that these aliens and Thanos are coming to get the stone, and they go straight to Wakanda.
Mhm.
Right? They go to Wakanda, a country that's still somewhat isolated. They have the whole fight there. Thanos shows up in Wakanda,
Mhm.
snaps his fingers, everyone's gone.
Right.
There's not enough time to tell anyone what the hell's going on.
Very
Even as an
true.
Eternal,
Very true.
you don't know what's going on. So 5 years go down the line, and not even 5 years, right? At the beginning of Endgame, what happens? They go, they find out that Rocket finds the energy signature. They go find Thanos.
Chop his head off.
He's chopped his head, but
Mhm.
they've already destroyed the stones.
Then
right?
it's 5 years later.
Then it's 5 years later, but no one has an option, right? Hey, Julian, good to see you, dude. No one has the option, right? The
Mhm.
Eternals can't help.
Right.
Right. The Avengers went in their own little group. It was like 6 of them that went to go face Thanos.
Right.
Again, a stupid move, by the way.
Right.
Right. It's
Right.
like 14 of you
Fueled by
couldn't-
emotion, obviously.
Yeah, but 14 of you couldn't fight him.
Exactly. Well, I think War Machine said something like that. He said,
Yeah.
"Hey, superhero lady, we've been there. We
fought
fought the fight,
But
and
then-
we lost."
But she
You-
did take him to town.
She did.
what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, she
but
did.
even then, it's like you still faced him kind of like underwhelmed with odds.
Yeah,
Like you didn't really
yeah.
take a real plan.
because he was hurt after he did
He
the
was
snap.
hurt, but it's
yeah.
like he still has 6 Infinity Stones.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, the stones.
Well,
are
he had
gone.
destroyed them at that time, right?
They didn't know until they got there, right?
Oh, that's right.
So
right. They
we
had to
have-
go there and find out.
Exactly. So we have 6. We have 6 Infinity Stones. So we have 6 stones destroyed. No one knows what goes on. What are the Eternals going to do? If anything, I feel like the big miss was one of the Eternals should have been vanished. I think they should have been erased. That's kind of like at least a few.
To show that
To
it
show that
didn't
they
even
were affected as
affected
well.
them.
That
yeah.
would have been better writing to be like, hey, we weren't all here either, right? And the humans were the ones that brought it back. That would have been a good way
think-
to be able to think
I think
about it.
Feige and the writers may not have thought that far ahead.
Yeah,
They
we
didn't.
could slap
Look how
that label
they
on everything.
kind of shoehorned Captain Marvel in there, and
Mm-hmm.
she came out of nowhere, and you're like, did we need a Captain Marvel?
Yeah.
Did we need it? I mean, there was no reason. The Captain Marvel first movie wasn't bad,
But was
but
it
did we
required
need
to
it?
be
Yeah.
a prelude to the event?
and there was
to
such
the
a.
Endgame?
And I was a big Captain Marvel fan.
Yeah.
Really big. As you can see, even Miss Marvel or whatever. And so when her icon appeared on the beeper,
Oh, you knew
after-
immediately.
I'm like, yes, because he was with me. I'm like, yeah. And he said, who was that? I said, that's Captain Marvel's insignia. But afterwards, I kind of felt she was kind of pushed in there. She was kind of rushed in there a little bit. They
Yeah.
should have fleshed her out a little bit more.
And that second
And I
movie-
think that's the problem I had with a lot of characters like the Eternals who could have lent a hand, but they said they couldn't
Yeah.
interfere. That was their way of keeping, because a lot of fans were asking that. Well, if the Eternals have been around for thousands of years, where were they for
Yeah.
the War of New York? I mean, that had to threaten the universe somehow,
So, and
right?
even in the War of New York, right, where I think one of them was stationed in New York, they can't interfere. But think about how fast that happened, right? Like think about
Yeah.
it. Like we were back.
Well,
in
we
the
have no
early-
reference of time, do we?
Hmm?
Do we have a reference of time
We
or
have
how
reference of
long
time
the...
when those things happened, but I recognize that at times when it comes to how fast things happen, what happened in Endgame and Infinity War, from the time that Spider-Man and Tony Stark get on the ship and leave,
Mhm.
right, and end up on another day, it's all of maybe one day. Right, a day or two by the time they get
Yeah.
to Wakanda and Thanos shows up and snaps everybody out of whack. You don't even know what's going on, right? If
No,
you're just a regular,
everything's happening at a fast pace. you know?
right? And then of course the rest of the universe doesn't know what's going on.
Right.
It's like Thanos just came up. Unless you were at the collector's base or unless you were on Xandar, which he already destroyed prior to that,
Right.
you don't really know what the plan is. So that's my argument against like why didn't the Eternals do anything? And they go, I don't know if I could have reacted fast enough to do anything. And then
That's true.
remember the
But they had a
Endgame fight-
speedster on that team, didn't they?
they did, but I also wonder, like, do you even know where to go? Because
Yeah, where would you go?
The
Yeah.
Avengers compound, where the fight is happening, right? Like, the battle for the universe, right? Everyone's being teleported in.
Right.
There's no email. Like, hey, by the way, if you're a
Let's all
super-
gather here and kick
Yeah.
Thanos' ass.
right, like it's most of the Avengers that are there,
Mhm.
mostly Wakanda,
Mhm.
right, as
Yeah.
handling the heavy lifting,
Right.
and then all the Sorcerer Supremes. But like when it comes to Shield, I feel like Shield could have been contacted in a way, like the helicarrier could have been in there.
Right,
Like there's a
right.
lot of questions of like, hey, how fast can you react? But at the end of the day, the whole point was to stop Thanos in that moment.
Right.
So
right.
when we're talking about the big fight, like where is everybody? I feel like a villain like Doom is maybe Doom, right? It's like when you talk about we need everybody, I think
So a
that
hands
might
on
be
deck,
the
right?
moment. Yeah, because like I said, it happened so quickly. That's my defense against
Yeah.
it. Even in the new Captain America, Brave New World,
Mhm.
right, where they're fighting over the adamantium on the Celestial, right?
Right.
That's a conflict that started off within hours.
And it takes place after the events of what?
After Endgame.
Endgame. Okay.
Right? But there's not many enhanced individuals who are going to come in, right, and interfere with an international conflict that
Right.
they started,
Very true.
right?
Very true. Yeah.
It's a fascinating piece to think about how it all went down. So
And there's so many different directions that can go in.
Yeah.
We could what if it to death. but the writers felt they wrote what they needed to write at that time.
Mm-hmm.
After it's all said and done, then you go back and you see all the pieces. Hey, what about this? What about that?
Yeah.
And that's where Kevin Feige, he reads the comments, he knows what people are thinking, and then he can retcon it any way he wants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how I'm figuring they're going to do the same thing with Fantastic Four. We saw it in the conclusion. No, that was
in Thunderbolts. We saw them
Thunderbolts.
being,
Yeah,
they have a transdimensional, so they've traveled from another universe. So that's
Mhm.
3 beings who've come from different universes so far. We know that not the Marvels, the Monica Rambeau
Yeah.
is in another universe where
Right.
the X-Men exist.
right.
So, and people forget that. It was just like
That's
she's
right.
in the universe.
That's right. There's Beast.
That's how the
is
X-Men
talking to
probably
her, right?
come over.
Yeah.
But how do you get those trans dimensions that are going on? That was all Kang.
And there's only 2. That's right. That was
all
Kang. Yeah.
So whatever happens with Kang, because remember Loki's going to be gone. Whoever picked up the slack from whatever happened with him will be the reason why Transdimension comes over. But I'm going to be more curious on why did the Fantastic Four feel the need to come here in the first place?
You know, how do they get them into the? I guess it's the 616 universe, right?
Mhm.
In the movies.
Yes.
So we only have 2 Marvel movies, right? There's Doomsday and
Yes, it's Spider-Man and Doomsday, and there's a purpose for that because
that's next year.
Yes, and then the Vision Quest is the one show that they've confirmed,
Mhm.
and then the last show apparently because they do not want to say anything, they won't announce the last show until after Spider-Man.
After the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, after the next Spider-Man movie, then they'll announce the show that's coming out in the winter.
So what's the next Avengers movie? There's Doomsday and what else?
It's Doomsday and then Secret Wars.
Secret Wars. Okay.
Yes.
In some way or shape or form, they're gonna put X-Men, Fantastic Four, and who else in that?
X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts.
That's the new Avengers, man.
Yes.
Get it right. I did the same thing. Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
The new Avengers, the Kid Avengers, technically. who
Yeah,
all been
they're
there.
supposed to do that. Is that supposed to be before the next Avengers movies too?
I don't know.
That sounds like it would be a Disney Plus series.
I mean, I don't see Doom losing,
Mhm.
so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Young Avengers happen after Doomsday, where Doom takes everyone out of the equation,
Mhm.
X-Men included, and now it's up to the new generation to tell the story. Because in my opinion, that's where it needs to go. I think that's where all media needs to go.
Mhm.
It's my personal hill I'll die on, where fans my age and older need to let things go. They need to
Okay.
let the new generation have new things.
I'm with you there.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
with
just
you
like,
there.
let
At
them
some
tell the
point, you got to let the
stories.
OGs go,
Yeah.
and then a new crop of heroes take over.
Yeah. And let
Now,
them
will
tell the
they
new
be? They're
stories,
trying
new
to make it
writers.
seem as though, you know what, we struck gold the first time, we're going to strike gold again. Sometimes it's okay if it was struck gold before, and this is the best you can do with these new crop of characters.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Robert Downey coming back as Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
I don't like
think
the
it's a red
idea.
herring. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah,
My thought, but I agree.
I hope it is.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan either.
yeah, I'm not a fan of it. It's like saying the new crop of superheroes we have now, our characters aren't good enough. So you have to bring Robert Downey. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe they do it, and I'm really impressed. I'm like, okay. I was a little apprehensive about this move. When I saw it was him, I kind of thought they may go that way. I said, no, I don't think so. But when he popped up, it was pretty anticlimactic to me. I mean, the burst at Comic-Con was incredible.
Yeah.
But when you start thinking about, like, really, do we really want Robert Downey? I doubted him once before, and he killed Iron Man. He did a great job as Tony
True.
Stark. So
Yeah, I remember we saw Iron Man as a joke. Like me,
you
me and
just
my
went to
friend
go see
Michelle,
it?
we're just like,
Let's
whatever.
go see it.
It's a Tuesday. We'll
Mhm.
see whatever. I was blown away. And then at the end, when he said, "Just call us Shield," me and this one other black guy, like 3 rows down, we're like, "Wait, what?"
Oh, you're talking about the end credits?
Yeah,
Okay.
2007. It was 2009, right? We're
Mhm.
just like, "Oh, Shield! Oh, wow, that was a cool little Easter
Oh,
egg."
yeah,
right?
they're doing a little bit more.
And then when Nick Fury serves up, that guy screamed. I was like, is what I think is happening?
Yeah.
And I don't know much, but I at least know this.
So they even knew they were laying down the foundation for
but they
whole-
certainly, I mean, they probably thought maybe Avengers 1 and call it a day. They never thought.
not this. There's
Hey,
no way.
Reed, good to see you. Hi. Yes, this is my uncle. We're doing well. We're talking comics, and we just trailed off into MCU
Yeah.
lore territory. But we really have to stop because I think I got the text message that the family is coming home. 1 second. Yep, they're coming home, so we have to start cooking. So I will say thank you to everybody
Oh,
who
man, it's
joined
8
us.
o'clock.
Yes, it is. We had over 800 people who joined us between both channels.
Wow,
so
welcome.
props.
All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. This is my nephew who's looking very, I don't know, Darth Sidious, Harry Potter.
Sith-like.
Darth Potter over here. But
Okay,
thank you very
like
much.
a
We
hood.
got the chance to talk about a lot of amazing comics. Uncle Frank, I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you,
for
buddy. Thank
telling
you.
your stories. I told you you'd be an
I don't normally rant like this. Usually I burn somebody out because they're not into comics, and they're like, "Oh, that's good, Frank. All right. So how's the weather outside?" They change it really quickly. But thank you, thank you.
Listen,
it was a lot of fun.
You have to understand that people are all about this shit. If you just turn on the camera and started going, people find us, they'll find you.
All right,
You know what I'm saying?
I'm all for it. You got to bring people down, so we'll lose
Oh yeah,
each
no,
other in
trust me.
conversation next time.
We ended up looking through all of 20 comics. We found the is it 13?
12 cents.
Was that? Yeah.
Yeah, number 13.
Number 13 of Captain Marvel.
12 cents.
Right, 12 cents. Number 57 of Captain Marvel. We went through an incredible run of One More Day, and speaking to that particular area, yes, my lightsabers are awesome. I have 3 combat sabers. We went through the original run of the X-Files. We had the chance to speak about the New 52 and the original Superman run that they haven't continued since, which makes me angry. And then, of course, we did get the chance to speak about this
Dark
one. And this
Knight
one has me
3,
interested, right?
The Master
The
Race.
Master Race, which was, what's it called again?
That's it.
Is it The Master Race?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Dark Knight
Which-
3, The Master
A
Race.
Dark Knight 3. Diana is my favorite DC hero.
Oh, man, then you would
Yes.
love her in this
Yeah, I
run.
call it Diana because it feels like
You
that.
want to hold these titles? You could read them.
I will take one. I'll take 2 from you, but I'm not taking
To what?
this. This one. I'll hold this one.
Okay.
And I will hold. Where
You
is
want
it?
the Superman Unchained
No, the
line? or
X-Files one. The
X-Files?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and X-Files. That's just fucking fascinating. So, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. It's been fantastic. I
Thank
hope I
you,
get
guys.
you back here soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.
And stop streaming.